Hey everyone, Lash Luke here with Party Jams once again to talk about the latest chapters in Weekly Shonen Jump. I say the latest chapters, more like the ones that we really talk about week to week. So, yeah, I think we can just get straight into it. So, is there any chapter particularly this week that you want to talk about first?
So last week I suggested maybe starting with the new series since there'll be less to talk about because they're newer.
Yeah. I've only really this week read I Shimon. I've not read Doran yet, and I've not read Protect Me Shugamaru. But I think we made our feelings on that series perfectly clear last week. So I guess we could talk about I Shimon if that's all right with
Yeah,
you.
I think I'll be dropping Protect Me Sugamaru anyway after this
Oh, okay.
week.
All right. Yeah, yeah, people were saying that it's not really that good. So I'll just
No.
uh, I'll just get I'll just get it set up for me with Ayashimon. And I think that hopefully by next week we can talk about Dora. That's just a mouthful to say that name.
Yeah,
Dora Dora.
Dororon. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, initial thoughts for me is it has some potential, but it feels like a story that's very much following the shonen formula. I feel like we've had so many stories that have tried to counter the formula to make something new that the new series we're seeing are trying to like follow the formula a bit more. And I think Dororo, whatever, is trying to be a very standard shonen, trying to play it as safe as possible, which we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. We'll see how that works out. And to be honest, there's some series that started off with like the typical shonen formula, like Black Clover, and look where that led. It led in its own direction after a while.
Yeah, but I feel like yeah, but I also think that like this one is borrowing heavily from Black Clover itself. But you'll see when you if
All
you
right,
read it.
I'll read it.
Uh,
I'll read it. I'll read it.
let's
Uh,
start with Ayashimon then.
yeah. So this chapter pretty much just getting more introduced to kind of like this world and kind of like how they Ayashimons kind of like operate in this world, and like there seem to be above the humans in the chain of command. So like you'll have one area of or where is it that they've gone to again? Is it
Shinjuku?
Shinjuku? Yeah. So you have one area where it's a feeding zone, and cops turn a blind eye to the human deaths, as we literally see an Ayashimon just basically do a Latoto from Bleach with the head, basically.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of got some of that stuff about feeding areas last week, or not last week, I think 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Um, so that part didn't surprise me too much. I was expecting that because they talked about feeding zones. But I think what surprised me more was the scene that came right after that with the
Oh,
working girl, we'll call her.
oh no! I've when you said that, I thought you were gonna say something about like the bear in the suit that's basically
Oh
doing
yeah,
a.
but I mean, like how it led to that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get you. But yeah, excuse me. For those of you who don't have the context of this, basically there is a bear in this chapter that does the banana gag uh, from what is it again? From where is it? It was on here. I am an idiot sometimes because yeah, Dawn to Dawn. Basically the banana gag from Dawn to Dawn, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
So yeah, that was very disturbing. Like the Tanuki, I wasn't expecting it to just. I don't even understand exactly how or why this was a thing, but okay.
It
I
seems to
just
be
found it
like
very disturbing.
yeah, it seems to be like a running thing now in Shonen. Like, let's just get our dicks out.
Yep, I'm literally
Yeah, literally.
getting so many Chainsaw Man vibes from this
Yeah.
series.
But what I think like this is kind of, I feel like this is kind of like what to go back to a recent series that was cancelled. I think this is kind of like something that Red Hood kind of aspired to be like, have this world with all these different creatures roaming about, but but the problem with Red Hood is like they were trying to do it one by one, whereas here like they've got them all together. Like on that page with the Tanuki as well, you get like the double spread, and you get to see all these different monsters and all these different creatures. Like you have one that is Two-Face. You have these like women in the background that are like 6 feet tall, long neck people. And then you just have and then you just basically have Relinquished from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! In there as well, because why not?
I think Red Hood was more trying to have like several fantasy races separate from each other, while this is trying to be a more modernized version of like spirits living in the city. But so I think they were going for different things,
Yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion.
So
But you are right that they threw a lot of creatures at us. But I feel like if you're Japanese, you would have probably recognized these more than we would.
yeah, probably. But even if you're not Japanese, it's still like kind of fascinating to like just see these different creatures roaming about and be like, oh, I wonder what they're all about, what that one's all about, what the kind of like flame, kind of like the guy in the white business suit with the long neck who has like a flaming monster cloud thing in front of him. Like, what is that?
Yeah, I don't know what any of these things are. I recognize the Tanuki, but that was about it.
Yeah. I think uh, I'm guessing the one with the two faces. I guess that's meant to represent kind of like different like a possession kind of thing or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess let's just keep moving forward because we clearly are out of our element figuring out these monsters.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, so, I mean, basically, what's all that's left of this chapter is like this one encounter that we see at like I guess some kind of dive bar,
yeah.
and our MC gets like caught up in another fight. And
Because
I mean, I think what I got here is what was nice is this was less of our main character who wants to fight. I believe his name is Maru. Maru
yeah,
wanting to fight like for justice or anything, so much as he just likes getting into fights. So I mean, there's that. He's not playing a hero, which is nice, and uh, but other than that, I guess the plan is this guy they just saved. They're gonna steal his home turf. I have a feeling
yeah.
he's not gonna have a base. I think
No,
that's
no.
what's gonna.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a base. He's gonna have a base as well. I think he's. I think they're kind of like, oh, we're gonna take over his base. What? You don't have base? Crap. What do we do with you now?
Yeah, so he's probably just
Yeah,
gonna be their lackey.
yeah. Which is kind of funny considering that it seems like Mo wants to be the is kind of like the big sister's lackey, and now they're kind of like getting another lackey as well. It thrown into the mix. But again, he's not really paid. He's more interested in the fact that he gets to read the newest. He gets to read the newest edition for the first time, the newest issue of like the this world. Yeah, Shonen Jump. Basically, I can't believe now that I can't believe Shonen Jump is basically been doing this now. Like every series, it has to have a reference to Shonen Jump in some way.
Yeah, I mean, I was for the stream catching up on Blue Box, and I remember there was just one random part of the story where they're just stacked shonen magazines for like no reason.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, just to remind you where what magazine this series is published in. Go and buy it.
I mean, considering how popular Jump is internationally, it's weird that they do so much self-advertising.
I know, it does feel weird. Um, so yeah, we have our MC getting into a fight because he's the MC, and we see that the guy who's being let's just be honest, a right bastard here.
Yeah,
Because I just love the fact as well that they have to censor his wording as well. Like you can imagine what he's actually saying.
yeah. I mean, that's one thing I do like about when censors, it's like if you know what the censor is going to say, it almost makes it worse than saying the word
Yes.
itself,
Yeah,
which is just really funny.
yeah. So we have this guy who's a yokai Inokuma Nadu, a yokai with monstrous strength that's withered in flame, was
Yeah, he's
once
basically just a fire demon.
yeah,
Yep.
from like Fire Force, basically, which is amazing. It's so crazy how they didn't even pick up how they even didn't do a Fire Force reference in this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Fire Force, those aren't demons. They're people turning into infernals. So that's a bit
But
different.
fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, we have our MC saying the whole strong eat the weak stuff isn't hype anymore. For me, it's way cooler for the strong to eat the stronger, and going on to say that this basically hyping up this fight in the quite literal sense by saying this is fire.
Yeah, actually, just I didn't even pick up on that while reading, but good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. And then he steals a door, which turns out to be a steel door, which that
It's
was
like,
just a great gag.
I know it's like how strong is this MC?
Yep. But also, I mean, they tried to make it also stupid because he picked a steel door which conducts heat. Which, I
Yeah,
mean, in his defense, it's not like there was much lying around.
no, there wasn't.
Oh, and then I like the tactics which come up after this, where it's like, use the sprinkler system. And he's
Oh
just
yeah,
like, cool, I'm gonna punch the sprinklers.
but yeah, it's more like just going tilt the door so the flames reach the ceiling. That'll set off the. Just kind of say it like in a more casual way.
Yep, so basically, like, rather than having like Hunter style fights, we're just gonna have a character whose strategy is, I'm gonna punch something, and eventually this will work out.
Yeah. So we have him punching the sprinkler system. Yes, he punched the sprinkler system. Just go with it, everyone. Um, and we have him getting gearing up by saying, by thinking to himself, "There's no, it's not him. It's the fire yokai." By saying like, "No way, this is no way. He is a mortal man, and he could and I am Oshi, and especially not me. Not after how long I trained in the underground fighting arenas. He ain't gonna hurt me." Ain't no way. It's totally impossible. And it's clear he has not read a lot of manga in his time because he should know that anyone who says that, yeah, they're going to get their ass kicked.
Yep. It's a shonen rule that it doesn't matter how much training you did, if the main character will beat your face in.
Yeah. Uh, but the funniest gag for me has to be the ending where the MC, because he's got a name for his attack, and he put it together from so many different manga that he had read over the years, and it's Ultimate Fire conquering Destructo, Heavenly True, and he ends up before he even got to finish the attack name.
Yep, he was already dead, which that's a great gag. Because if you think about it, like, what is the time interval for some of those, like, attack names? Some of them are just, like, entire sentences.
I know. I know.
So it's like, yeah, no, before you can even say that, even in Japanese, there's no way they aren't dead
There's
already.
there's no way that they're doing that. And big big twist of the ending of the chapter is that despite being punched and his body obliterated, the yokai still isn't dead. So it's like
Yeah.
what is going on with him?
The other thing is, I noticed, like, all this scattering around, is that like his guts? Because they're like a little circle, so it almost looked like money. I wasn't sure what was going on there.
Uh,
Like, do you see what I mean? Like all the
yeah,
circles that are scattered.
I thought it was more like petals or straw, or it might be or it might just be it might be like no, it can't be money because you see the box that he lands in, and it's like all different like rocks. So it might be just pebbles or something like that.
Well, I mean, okay, go on the last page 23. If you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
to
I'm
the
on that.
very top corner, like top, what's the right corner?
Yeah, I could.
Right by
Yeah.
his like severed arm, there's like a circle.
Oh right, yeah, yeah. I see you. I see you.
So that looks like, and then like there's also some rectangles in the air which could be paper bills, but I'm like, why would money explode from this guy? That kind of threw me off a little. I mean, the joke was hilarious, and then I'm like, wait, why did it explode into money? And my thought is this right now. I don't know if this series is going to go full gag on me or something like that, but it reminds me of like in RPGs. When you beat a monster, you get some experience points, but also some cash.
Oh
So
yes.
if we have monsters in this place being like, oh yeah, so rule here is if you kill somebody or like, or I guess he's not dead, but beat somebody down in a fight, you get money from their
Yeah.
body.
Well,
That would just be hilarious because then our MC is like, I can, because the story started with him needing to get a job, just get
yeah,
cash. And now he can just like beat people down to just have them explode cash for him.
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying, and that would be hilarious. But you want to know what would be even more hilarious is
What's
if
that?
after he beat the monster, like there's just this XP bar that just comes completely out of nowhere and then disappears, and
And
he's
then
like,
he's like, wait, what? How is
"What
this
was
possible?
what was that?"
He's like, oh yeah, that's just a normal part of yokais. We
Yeah,
just get experience points and level up. We have evolution trees and skill points. It's going to turn into a whole RPG
yeah,
isekai without isekai.
yeah. It'll probably will turn into that, and I'll be all for that. Like
I mean,
if
if they can come up with a fun like explanation for it without it feeling like too meta, then yeah, I'm in for it.
yeah, like if Red Hood did something like that, I think it would have lasted a lot longer.
Now, to be honest, I'm mostly just joking here. I feel like more than likely this guy having money in him is probably going to be more of a plot point than a recurrent thing. But I thought it'd be funny if this was the case.
Yeah, you're
Like, I'm pretty sure
probably
him having money is just like him storing it or something in his body, but I still find that weird.
yeah, you're probably right in
But it
that.
would be fun, I think, my
It
idea.
and it would be fun, but yeah, overall, pretty solid chapter. Not really anything bad in it. And really just looking forward to seeing where this world actually goes because I feel like we're just sort of like in the development of just building this world up.
Yeah, which we're in chapter 3, so that's expected. But I will say, I'm not sure if, I don't think we're getting any more new series immediately. So of the new series, this definitely has like the most promise from the beginning until now. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is the series that'll outlast the rest.
Yeah. Well, it depends how
I mean, if
well
it
the
doesn't, then I really don't understand this industry.
Yeah, well, it depends on how well the because we've got another series that's just going to be exclusively online next week, kind of like with Ayakashi Triangle.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it was that one that I posted like in the
Oh, yeah,
Discord
that
chat.
one.
Yeah, that one. So
Okay.
I'm guessing that's why Ayakashi hasn't been cancelled yet because it's more an online series rather than in the main magazine.
Well, I mean, I don't know how Jump is distributing stuff nowadays.
Uh, I don't
I don't know
know.
if it's all digital or if there's like a magazine. Because the weird thing is in Jump, they still show in the latest chapters people having magazines. Like I know you don't read Roboco, but they still show like the main character getting a new Jump magazine every week.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, I know that. I know about that. Yeah, so it just feels weird how this is operating at the moment, and
I
hopefully,
mean, I do want to say some stuff about Ayakashi, so we could move on to that if we're good with this
yeah,
series.
yeah. So overall, pretty solid chapter. Can't wait to find out what happens next week. So yeah, we will we will move on to Ayakashi Triangle. Where is it? Oh, oh, I let me just get it sorted.
I'm gonna attempt to do some timestamp stuff and maybe put in the comments or something for anybody who wants to reference.
Yeah, yeah, I think that might be a good idea as well. I mean, I don't know
I know
about
you don't
doing
want to
like
like do any editing. That's fine. I'm gonna try to remember to do these timestamps. So
yeah,
no
yeah,
guarantee on that, guys. But I'm gonna attempt to do this as we figure out how we want to do these streams.
yeah. No, yeah, and we could just do it as we go along as well. See where we go from there.
So
Yeah,
the reason what you said reminded me of Ayakashi. Well, besides the fact that you mentioned Ayakashi, is like this chapter. This chapter, I think, just the way it started, it really made me feel like, wait, are we trying to reach some kind of conclusion? And the reason I say that is because even though we've talked about how there's like so much more potential for the story to go forward, it felt weird to me that it was just like, oh, okay, so we're going to Shadow's Maze base, we know where it is, and we're about to invade. And I'm like, hang on, I feel like we skipped some I don't know, strategy, some training, a bunch of stuff you're just like at the base. And then of course how it ends with our main antagonist just showing up. It feels like
yeah,
the pacing just weirdly skyrocketed. And I know I'm the one who told you, like, don't worry about an axe, Luke. It's way too soon. But this is the chapter that made me a little more worried about this series coming to a conclusion soon.
yeah. Personally, I I was kind of like a bit weirded out by it, but the ending kind of like gave me kind of like hope as well, because again it said we'll just skip to the ending, because it says that if Shadow May dies, then Matsuri and Shigeran won't be able to turn back to their original forms. And it's kind of like Matsuri wants to turn back into their original form. So it's kind of like, um, would this be a way to kind of like, okay, so they can't get rid of Shadow May now, but at the same time they need to get rid of Shadow May, and what is she actually going to do? Because we don't know what her new plan is. That's the thing, we don't know what her new plan is.
Yeah, we don't, but it seems like she wants to befriend them. So I feel like the story, it's either gonna try to stall itself a bit by, like you said, not killing off the main antagonist for a while, or it's going to be like, okay, well, we need to just finish up this fight and make you not evil or something. Or they're gonna focus on reverting the characters, since they can't, if they defeat her, they can't revert, then maybe the new goal is, okay, let's focus on getting back our old forms, which of
Well,
course would then lead to a final fight. Because once they revert back, then I'm going to feel like it's endgame vibes, because
yeah,
how the series began.
but here's the thing. Here's what could potentially happen is that yes, they may be able to reverse, but this might be part of Shadow May's plan. It's like, okay, I'm going to befriend them to kind of gain their trust, and then once I've gained their trust and we've got them back, then we've got them back to their form. Then I'm going to use like my powers to kind of nab their ability to change back. Once they've changed back, Shadow May's going to um, take their essence that they used to change back, basically, and to do something like maybe make clones of Matsuri and Shirogane, something like that. So like we get like a Matsuri
But
and
that would
female
still make me
Matsuri.
think that if that did happen, that would just like lead again into like the last arc with Shadow May.
Yeah, but
So
here's the thing as well. Like I said, like I've been saying, like we don't know how many reincarnations of Suzu is, so there could there's still like, even if they got rid of Shadow May now, there could be like, I don't know, a the shadow essence of the first Ayakashi king, like the first one that had the whole Ayakashi king vibe and was able, and it's kind of like the first form of Suzu, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, no, I see what you're saying, and I mean you're right. We could take that direction, but at this point in the story, I'm actually just starting to feel like it might wrap up soon. But I think we were talking about the end a lot. We should probably talk about the chapter itself.
Yeah, so talk about the chapter itself.
Okay,
um
so I'm really happy to have Rio back.
yes,
Rio,
Rio, we
for
got
those of you who
Rio
haven't
back.
seen my tweet, is one of my favorite characters in this series.
Oh yeah, she's my favorite character in the series as well. I've
Yeah,
uh,
she's great.
she is great, and also as well, she okay. So basically, this chapter was basically Suzu versus Ryu, who is the pervious, basically.
Yeah, and I mean they've had that chapter before, but it's just a winning formula.
Yeah. So
Oh man.
basically, in this chapter, Ryu is trying to make is quote unquote trying to make Matsuri Matsuri relax, if you know what I mean. But she's trying to play it off as like, oh no, no, oh no, no, I'm not trying to do it in that way. I'm just trying to make sure that they're not stressed out, for lack of a better word.
Yep, definitely lacking a lot of words here.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically Rio found out about the confession, which now she realized their feelings are mutual. She's basically trying to, I guess, test the limits of what she can get away with, which is kind of like it feels natural to go that direction. I have a feeling that pretty soon they're gonna have to address this in some capacity, but I don't know how.
No.
For now, I'm satisfied with this dynamic.
Yeah. Well, here's another direction they could go. They could go down. Like once they get rid of Shadow May, if Shadow May is going to be getting rid of, then could go down the direction of like Matsuri and Suzu kind of dating for a while until the next big threat comes about.
Wait, they what?
Like like Shadow May gets defeated, right? And
Yeah,
then
and then Suzu and Matsuri, what?
Matsuri like kind of date for a while until the next big threat comes about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I would like that. It would be nice to have the actual
Yeah,
couple and then continuing the story afterwards.
yeah.
I mean,
But
I feel like if the series is doing well, it could definitely get away with that.
well,
But if it's not, it will just conclude after.
it seems to be doing well in the sales. Like the sales have been steady for a long time, and
Yeah, every volume has been at the same
yeah,
pace. So
yeah, and also as well, it's kind of hard to actually promote Ayakashi Triangle because it's so etchy. So it's kind of like that series. Like I feel like it's kind of the series where it's like, okay, we can't cancel it because we don't have another etchy series, but we can't actually promote it, if that makes sense.
it does, but then, well, I still don't know where the story is going, but we'll see with that.
Yeah, well,
The other thing I wanted to bring up is Suzu and Rio. They started getting to a fight, and then Rio gets, I smell the Luda scent coming from Suzu.
oh yes,
And I'm
yes,
just like, oh my god, Suzu got so lewd that
yeah,
she's giving off the Luda scent to a character like Rio. That is extra high.
yeah, and Suzu uses her Oma Cage powers to basically make mini Suzus that cover Matsuri's body.
And it's funny because on one hand, it's like a very clever use of her technique that we haven't seen before, and it's used in this capacity, which is just
Yes,
brilliant.
yes,
I,
and then Rio is just like, yeah, that's pretty impressive, but let me show you my technique. And she basically turns herself into Dr. Octopus.
yep, this basically we get tentacles.
Yes.
Effectively.
Yeah. And I could just imagine Matsui being like, wait, this wasn't in my contract.
This wasn't in my contract. I just love how Matsuri is just so helpless in this situation, despite being the main character. That
Yes.
he actually needs Soga to come and help him.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
And then
But and then Soga, I feel so bad
Soga,
for Soga. He is so conflicted on his feelings.
yeah, it's like, oh, he's meant
He
to be
just
my
wanted to be the rival character in this story, but not that kind of rival.
yeah. And now I have feelings for my rival that I never thought I would have in the first place, and I don't know what to do. And we see Soga basically save Matsuri from Ryo and Suzu, only to find himself in a situation himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also props to the translator for leaving a little note what all that text meant.
Yes, that
I actually took me a second to realize that's what that was. But
yeah,
very, very good job.
very good job. And then of course we have Chardonnay
Oh my
coming
God, that took
out.
me so off guard when I was reading
I
because
know
I was just too busy laughing and having fun. And like, I think what was it on page 12? Yeah, I was with Shirogane, who was thinking, "Is this how a team should be acting before we rush the enemy base?" It's like, guys,
definitely
we're at the castle of the final boss. What are you doing?
yeah. Um
And then Shadow Maid just comes out.
Yeah, and I was so busy trying to make sure because I was reading this on public transport, trying to make sure like I can't let people see me reading this, otherwise I might get weird looks. And I didn't
Uh-huh.
even know it's Shadow Maid. At first, I thought it was just like how you know how Suzu can basically make a clone of herself through
You
her
thought it was an
powers.
Omikage?
Yeah, I thought that was an Omikage until like, no, wait, it's Shadow May.
I'll be honest, for a second I thought, wait, this looks too happy to be Shadow May. Maybe this is regular May. And the big reveal for this chapter would be regular May is also alive somehow. I don't know.
That could
But,
that actually might that might actually be something like that might actually be something that will come up like are some of the past lives of Susu still alive somehow.
I mean, possibly, but it was just Shadow May coming out of her castle. I remember
Yeah.
my favorite gag was like the next page of all the funny stuff that happened, where it's just like, was this your plan to get me out of the castle? If so, that was brilliant.
Yes.
And Ryosuzu were like, all according to Kick.
Yeah, and it's like, no, this was definitely not the plan.
Oh man, I was just thinking to myself, if they actually decided to play that off for even for just like an extra panel or two, just being like, "Ha, me and Suzu had this all planned out. We were assaulting Matsuri to get you out because we knew our shenanigans would do it." I'd be like, "Oh, okay, you got me. You even got me there."
Yeah. But
But of
no,
course, it was just them
liars.
being stupid. I
Yes.
do hope they become friends by the end of the series. They're a good team, in ironically.
Yeah, ironically. And then we get the ending where she was about to pay them a visit. Why don't we stop fighting and become friends? But yeah, Matsuri has has my thought here. Like, yeah, this is an obvious trick. This is obviously a trick.
I mean, yeah, I especially because we've seen her like brooding in the background. There was never a point where she was like, you know what, I feel bad for my actions. I want to go make friends. She was
Yeah,
always plotting.
she's always plotting. Like, and it seems like you said, it seems too far happy to be the Shadow Maid that we know. Like, she's obviously up to something, and so is Gaku. Like, and even if like here's the thing, even if Shadow Maid does die, we still have Gaku as like an antagonist. So, and he's obviously in love with May. So, like, if she dies, then he becomes the main antagonist to kind of like avenge her.
I mean, yeah, that would be a nice twist, actually. That would actually be a nice natural way to extend the
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Although, if that was the direction that they were
Oh,
ultimately planning on, I would have thought it would have been a smart idea to flesh out Gaku just a bit more. I know
yeah,
we have his backstory and everything, so he has enough to be like a memorable character that I like. But for like a final antagonist slash a follow up major antagonist, I don't think it's quite enough. At least in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying, but also as well, what he could do is he could work out like, well, if I get the DNA of the, if I get the DNA of the current Akashi King and do something with like an area that May's been around. Maybe he could use that to revive May or like get May's essence inside of Suzu. Like he kidnapped Suzu to get May's essence inside of her. Like when she's obviously defeated.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But
So
that yeah, Akashi Triangle was really fun.
yeah,
It's just worrisome. The chapter itself was good. It's just worrisome, like where the story is going, because like I really hope it's not getting axed. I'm gonna definitely be paying attention to those table of contents placements.
Yeah, yeah. I to be honest, I don't think it is going to be axed like what I was fearing. I feel it's just a case of like it's a series that you just can't promote as well as others, and it's kind of best to just leave it at the back of the magazine, because if it turns out that Ayakoshi's like third in the table of contents. Let's check it out, and then it comes, and then kids see the pages 12 and 13. That they would probably get complaints from parents.
I don't know how Japan is with that stuff though, because I feel like the big thing is that at least from what I've heard, is that while here in the West, or at the very least America, when it comes to sexual content, we're very like restrictive of what younger people can know about it. While over there on in Japan slash the East, they're much less used to gun violence than we are here, where it's like advertised on TV all the time. So usually that kind of stuff gets more censored. But then again, that's based on my rudimentary understanding
Yeah,
from internet feedback.
yeah.
So
Um,
you could still be right.
yeah. So we'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I feel like we are moving into sort of like a climax, but I don't see it being like the climax of the story.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I hope you're right. I
Yeah.
hope you're right. Oh, and so I know we're not going to talk about Robico, but I do want to make a point since we're on Ayakashi that the mangaka for Ayakashi actually drew some art for the Robico issue this week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, basically there was just the joke this week was about like taking a good photo, and there was a picture of Robico. It like looked like the art style from Ayakashi, which I thought, okay, well that's the gag. But then in the magazine, they literally said, I post this on Discord, that the we had to get the mangaka. Wait, sorry, I forget his name sometimes. Yeah, sorry, Yabuki Sensei to come in and draw this because our mangaka couldn't do it. And then the MC's like, we
All
shouldn't
right.
be wasting other people's times with this. But I found that hilarious because I was thinking we saw Robico in Ayakashi recently. So I'm wondering if he was like
Yes.
saying, hey, I drew a panel for this magazine that I like. I hope you guys check it out.
Yeah.
That might be why that was there.
Yeah.
Because it felt
Yeah.
random at the time, but I think that's why he drew it.
Yeah. I can see where you come from, because like that image, that's pretty much Suzu with a bob haircut.
Yep. And yeah, it does credit him in the if you see at the bottom of that panel.
Yeah, I
Did the
see it.
screenshot.
I see it.
Yep, that's great. Honestly, after seeing that, I was thinking to myself, I would love it if more manga, if they had the time, of course, because they're busy, so
Yeah.
busy in general. But if they had the time and the interest for them to draw little panels in each other's manga sometimes, especially the gag series where they could just point it
Oh,
out.
oh yeah, like if we oh my god, if we had
Like in Witch Watch, for example, like
yes,
they
I was just gonna say that. Like
which we can transition to Witch Watch with that if
yeah,
you want.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If they got the mangaka for, if they got like Yabuto, is that the name of the mangaka for Ayakashi?
Uh, Yabuki.
Yabuki. If they got him to in Witch Watch to draw like that panel of the crescent moon in Witch Watch, just to do the gag of the crescent.
I mean, the thing is, it would need to be in his art style or something. So like if it was like maybe
Well,
like
no, well,
some
no.
generic
If
character
they,
he had with wearing a crescent somewhere in their uniform, then yeah, that could work.
yeah. Oh no, no. Actually, they could just do a panel um, of like in Witch Watch they have Moe going over to like the other characters and saying like, "Hey, if you checked out this new series in Jump, Ayakashi Triangle," and it just shows because you've got May here with like a crescent, like an upside down crescent on her outfit. So I wonder would that uh, actually make the transition to the werewolf form happen?
You know what? I would definitely buy that. And also, I'm on the Viz website looking at the author comments, and yeah, the Roboco mangaka didn't give a thank you to Yabuki Sensei, and said
Yeah,
he appreciated the drawing Roboco in an earlier issue.
yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll um, go and talk about Witch Watch.
Yep, let me just write down the time for you. Okay.
Okay.
So, first thing I want to just point out with Witch Watch, big thank you to the translator and letterer again for this
Yes.
issue. You guys
Yes.
are the best for doing this because, oh my God.
Oh.
Like,
Oh my.
it's just,
Oh my word.
I was reading this thinking, oh, I feel so bad for you.
Yeah. So, Witch Watch just starts off with with Moe being the caretaker, making breakfast for everyone. Before we cut over to him at the school, basically being told by the guidance counselor, like, look, your grades are all right, but your three housemates, their grades are slipping, so you have to do something about them. Otherwise, you three will not be able to stay with each other from now on. And this is where we basically get Moe basically being the dad of the house, and he has his three kids, and he's berating them like, how dare you get back in your studies? Do you know how idea how ashamed I feel about this? We need to do something about this.
Yeah, and I think the first thing to point out, because the principal threatened their living situation, I guess in Japan it's a thing where students' private life can very much be influenced by the school. Like I've seen in other shows where it's like, oh, whether or not you have a job outside school is like grounds for like school discipline, and then I guess living situations are too, which I find a little weird. I mean, in Blue Box, for example, which we will probably talk about because I caught up with it, is they never bring it up, as far as I know. But here they just bring it up like, okay, this could be a problem.
Yeah,
Like, why?
I think the reason why they don't bring up in Blue Box is because they're already quite smart, the two main characters, so there's no reason for it to be brought up.
Well, I mean, are they? There was a whole chapter of him just cramming for school. Do you
Well,
remember?
yeah, I wouldn't say smart, but like not. But I think he manages to get by. Unlike these three, who they basically call them idiots.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of fair. They're not very bright.
No,
Um,
I
so
could
I
just
think
I could just imagine Nico in her early years when she was at school, like it when she was away from Moe, just being like, "Oh, I'll just use a spell to get by and maybe change my grade a little bit."
oh man, I mean, I don't know about that, but I will say I did find it funny that carrying numbers. I'm assuming that's.
Yes,
I'm not sure if that's a direct
I
translation or what, but really, Nico, carrying numbers.
yeah,
How old are you?
I guess she's like I guess she's like 12 remainder one. I guess the remainder is that's kind of her Achilles heel.
But it's like okay, like I understand it's like from basic multiplication and division, but that's like elementary school level stuff.
Yes.
I would assume Japan is somewhat close to our educational levels. I'm obviously assuming that, but there's no way you should be bad at this basic
I
arithmetic.
know.
I would understand if she was like, okay, numbers can get kind of hard once we start throwing in like complex equations and stuff like that, but carrying numbers.
No, oh, that's
And
probably
then
what she.
Kago is
That's
just like,
pro.
I'm just not motivated to do nothing.
Yeah, that. Going back to Nico, then, just for a minute, I reckon that's probably what she was doing in elementary school. Like she saw I had a remainder left over. Okay, we're gonna use the spell to take out that remainder and make this correct.
Yeah, somehow that's going to work. Math can
Yeah,
be changed.
and then it messed up, and the remainder came to life and became a giant remainder in front of her. Maybe that's probably why she's so traumatized by carrying numbers.
Eh, that would actually be funny if that were
Yeah,
the case.
yeah.
But
So yeah,
yeah, so then Keigo, he's just not interested, which kind of makes sense. Keigo seemed like the smart type of person based on like what we've known about him this far.
yeah,
But he's just very unmotivated to do school. And then Khan is just like really, really dumb,
yeah.
which that fits.
Which begs the question: Ginru from Doctor Stone or or Kanashi from Witch Watch? Who do you think's dumber?
Oh man, it's actually kind of tough. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I almost want to give Khan the benefit of the doubt, having some level of formal education. Ginru wouldn't even sit down for
Oh,
school,
oh yeah, good
but
point. Good point.
but man, it is close.
Yeah. All right then. All right then. Taiju versus Kenshi. Who do you think's dumber? No
You know, the
disrespect to
weird
Taiju.
like okay, I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but the weird thing with Taiju is sometimes like they of course give him like Z level intelligence, but at the same time there are moments in the story where they actually make him look like fairly competent, like when he threw that rock up to distract Tsukasa. But if we're talking school stuff,
Yeah. I'm just talking school stuff because that's more of like a spur on the moment. Like, okay, well, in this situation, this is what I can do.
yeah, okay. So, I'm trying to think how much we've seen of Taiju doing schoolwork. Because, I don't know. I don't think I have enough information on Taiju's schoolwork to really
No,
put that
no, I
in.
don't think we
The,
do.
the problem is Taiju unfortunately got sidelined a lot in the story.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
I
man.
mean, if, like, I guess, like, bullet to the head, maybe Khan is smarter just because Taiju is designed to be, like, the stupid one, but I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah. So we have Kanchi basically being like, yeah, I'll promise to pay attention, but and he's so traumatized by it. He's basically trying to do the sympathy card here. It's like, I wish I could hit the reset button and start back at middle school. This time I'll promise to pay attention. But Maury's
Yeah,
not
no, but
having,
I can understand that. There are times in my life where it's like, dang, I wish I could hit a reset button.
yeah, yeah, but Maury's not having any of that. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, fine. You don't have to cry about it. So
I
this is
do.
go
Okay.
go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I
Oh,
was just
okay.
gonna say this is where we're starting to get the special daily tutoring, and you
Oh,
just
yeah.
and again they're just like the kids of the house. It's like, do we have to do this? Can we just sit around and play video game? No, you're doing this.
Yeah, I do like how he's the dad of the group. It is, or mom, depending on how you interpret that. But like what I like about this is that part of the joke here is that you have to like really know your stuff to teach. Because I think teachers really. I think there's like an old joke that those who can't do teach, but really to be a teacher, you have to like really know your stuff.
Yeah.
I think, and you really learn a lot while teaching. I can tell you from any tutoring experiences I've done.
Oh yeah, definitely as well. I understand as well because I've done a bit of like tutoring, mentoring myself. But yeah, also as well, like I think the biggest thing people like to bash on teachers, like what you said, those who can't do it, teach it. But again, you have to have a lot of patience as well because you could get people like these three and who are just like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. And you could just be like splitting hairs with them. Teachers have to have a lot of patience.
Yep. And I mean, the other thing is they also have to like really figure out how to properly teach. Because like, especially if you're teaching, well, in this case, he's teaching people his own age, so it's a bit easier. But if you're teaching like younger kids, then you really have to like simplify how you do things. I guess, and like a different thing is like I'm in the medical field myself, and in there I have to explain like very complex topics sometimes to everyday people, and that requires a good amount of understanding of what the topic is, so you can explain it in a way that's correct but still simple.
Yeah.
And I mean, even just like trying to talk to people about like the vaccine or anything else, it's like I have to. If you dig into things enough, and which I did, there's a lot of complex details, but explaining it simply and it's how safe it is and stuff that requires you to like really know what you're talking about. I think
Oh yeah,
so people
definitely.
trust you.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I do like the credit they give to teachers and I guess cram school teachers or something, and that's kind of a Japanese thing.
yeah. So we have Moe basically getting ready to kick the love of learning into overdrive, which I was just like, is that meant to be a Yu-Gi-Oh's 5D's dub reference here? Kick into overdrive. But yeah,
Uh, Actually, I
where
didn't
is
think
it?
about that.
Yeah, I would, because that's like
But
the
that's like
thing.
a well, okay. I was gonna say that's a localized version, but then again, the translators did this, so
Yeah.
it could.
Um, but but the thing I found hilarious about this is that have you seen Kaguya-sama Love is War?
I've seen a couple episodes and some gags. I think you recommended I try the manga instead of the anime to get into it, but Kaguya was not an anime series I could get into after trying a couple episodes.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So basically, in Kaguya-sama, you have the main character who is meant to be perceived because he's a student council president, so he's meant to be perceived as like the guy who could do anything, but he sucks at sports and he sucks at singing and he sucks at dancing. So the pink-haired girl is basically like, "Do you want me to shoot you?" And she basically does what Moe does in this chapter, where she has like a headband on her head, but she has the word demon written on it, so it's like she's like going through hellish tutoring with him. And I just really wanted the moment where the demon headband came out, but we didn't get it here.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll take your word for that, but that sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So yeah, move. So yeah, the first thing he wants to start with is world history, and I just love the fact that Nico's taken the whole teacher-student thing very seriously. Like, excuse me, Mr. Moe.
Oh yeah, that was fun. But I mean, I think that even the title of this chapter was like, "Please, Morihito Sensei." So
Yes. Oh yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah. So we have Nico who goes to it. I love how this is like the go-to answer for Nico. It's like, can I use a spell? And he's like, that's cheating.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what the series is about, though. We run into a problem. Nico uses magic. Things get hilarious. This is the formula, except those chapters where they're not even in the story.
I know, I know. So basically, what the spell they try to do here is that they're trying to boost the brain's ability to absorb information for 1 hour, and if it's cast before the Turing session begins, they'll definitely remember everything he says. And when we say everything, we mean everything.
Yep.
So
But the side effect of the spell is the fact that once you use it again, it overrides the thing you learned before. And I
yeah,
actually kind of like that because I think it kind of gets near the end. When you cram stuff, you end up forgetting the stuff you crammed earlier. So cramming is like not an effective way to learn
yeah,
anything.
and of course the other side effect of the spell is when it's activated, it turns the people into jelly brains.
Also, it just activates on a clap.
Yes. So yeah. Um.
Let's see. Okay, and then like I don't know about you, but reading these speech bubbles of all the stuff that Morihito was teaching them, I was thinking to myself, "Oh my God, this brings me back to school."
Oh yeah.
I
It
remember
definitely.
learning these random specific facts that I have used so little since school.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I've just got to say, I've got to appreciate the art style again. Like we got a different art style for when they're jelly brains.
I do have to wonder though, like if these were the actual topics they studied, just because they talked about like the Industrial Revolution, and I mean, I'm sure it was the same for you, but the Industrial Revolution always felt like very westernized because that's the Industrial Revolution that we learn. But I would assume in Japan that I thought it would be different, but I guess since world history.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's kind of a universal thing.
Yep, guess so. Man, but I do like just the first line where it was just like, "Do you remember what I taught you?" And then you're all staring at me like idiots. I just do
Yes.
this verbatim.
Yeah, and I, if Witch Watch gets an anime adaptation, I cannot wait for this chapter to be adapted because I can't wait to hear like all three of their voice actors just saying these lines together.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even in like the dub, that'll be so much fun.
Yes.
Also, the artwork in this series again, like it's not like mind blowing, but it very well sets the mood and the tone.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to bring that up because I feel like Shinohara's artwork really helps convey the emotions of his series, but
Yeah,
in a subtle
definitely.
way.
Definitely. And we also get the montage of Morihito resurrect basically going into teaching overdrive to kind of like get all the lessons prepped and everything, but as it stayed before, once the spell wears off and you do it again, it overwrites everything from the first time.
Yep.
So
So
now,
he has to keep coming up with very comprehensive
yeah,
stuff in order to like just each day, which is a pain.
yeah, to the
He had
point, to the
finals too.
yeah, to the point that he's saying that we have to cram everything that we know into 1 hour, basically.
Yep. And then they realize they have one final after the other because that's how finals work, even in here. So and then there's we have to like learn everything in between our exams, and
Yes,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh my god.
and I had of course, and then we get him saying, "No time like the present. Let's do this." And you see it. I could just imagine again when we get to the if we get to the anime adaptation, like just the voice actor for Moe just saying all this dialogue at once.
Just trying to talk as fast as possible.
Yeah, so it's like
Oh,
1769 one page so
and
something
since
like
it's world
that.
history, I'm assuming some of this must be in English.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's gonna be tough.
and again they're just like but I think the funniest part of that whole page is like you see them all at the bottom getting super happy. Even Kago, who's normally like the stoic, non-interested type. He's just like, yay!
Yep. Oh wait, what page are we on?
16 and 17.
Got it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, then they just oh man, those text bubbles.
Oh yeah, the text bubbles. But you want to know what I thought would have been funny is if they it showed them in the exams and they had so everything just crammed in that they would just get it all mixed up. So like we have we have um where we have Nico doing the maths test, she's writing about world history.
Oh yeah, that actually would be funny because like the one thing with this spell I've noticed, and maybe this is where you were going with this, is the fact that they just know all this stuff verbatim, but they don't necessarily understand these topics. And for some subjects, you need to understand more than just memorize a bunch of stuff. So if you just start spitting out, if you look at math and you're like, I don't know how to do this math problem, just starting to talk about the Industrial Revolution isn't gonna
Yes,
so.
that's what I was going. That's what I was going with. But nope, it turns out that they barely managed to avoid failing. And
Oh yeah,
e-
wait, before they head to the test after like the big cram session they had, Nico tried to squeeze a mosquito, and then Morihito accidentally started just teaching about mosquitoes
oh yes,
and overwrote everything.
Yes, definitely. And of course, no matter how fast you're strong, no matter how smart you are, the mosquito will escape.
Yep. Mosquitoes are the ultimate foe of shonen.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I guess I did like the conclusion that ultimately Morihito had to make such good notes in order to teach everything that the notes was good enough to
Yeah.
convey the information. So that was a satisfactory conclusion. I do like how Shinohara does find ways to end things in a way that's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And he got a certificate for everything that he did.
Yep, which leads me to a prediction for next time. If we're continuing off of this particular plot point, since Morihito, I'm assuming, got the award probably for like the best grades in his class, maybe the school, that might help make some
Yeah.
enemies. And
Yes.
so
You
he's gonna
know,
have to like deal with like some super smart nerdy people next
yeah.
time.
Or you know what might happen? He might have to do this all again with the student council.
Oh, oh, just like tutor them. He's gonna
Yeah,
be like
just
the new tutor for everybody.
yeah, he's just going to be like the new tutor because they're incompetent, the student council. So it's like this will probably get the attention of them more, and the leader of the student council, like, good, great, I need help. Can you tutor these lot to be good student council people? And it's like, it's like he has to learn what their roles are, so like he can teach them like the like psycho, like teach him what his role on the student council is supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I mean, it would fit because the tea ceremony was another example when Morihito had to like learn something new for the first time and then execute it for somebody else. So it's kind of a running thing where he is like a very good learner.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But I could see that being the case. Like he's God's. I could actually see it being your way as well. Like, wait, isn't I'm just gonna go back because we haven't seen it for a while. Isn't Nemu wasn't Nemu said to be smart herself?
Um, I mean, like in terms of common sense, probably not. But in terms of school, I think she goes to a private school, so that might be what you're talking about. Because I
Yeah,
think usually
that's what.
those they have higher standards. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think she goes to a better school than them. So
So
probably.
I could see Moe like it just getting out that he is smarter, and that just irks Nemu so much. So that
So like
became
I'm the supposed to be the smart one of this friend group. It's like you were part of this friend group, and then he
yes,
gets his feelings
yeah,
hurt because he's
yeah,
like, I thought I was one of the gang.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, you want a battle of the smarts? Let's have a battle of the smarts. And then,
But
oh
Marquito
my,
wouldn't even. Well,
oh my
actually,
god,
he's pretty competitive at times.
oh my
So
god,
maybe.
oh my god, I could just see it now. Okay, we have like battle of the smarts, and um, Nemu gets really nervous about this, and she asks Nico to cast a spell at her, but the spell backfires, and of course she turns into a cat form, and she has but she's trapped like that. So it's like Moe versus a cat.
Oh yeah, then a cat outsmarts him. That's gonna
yes,
be.
yes, yes.
It's just like, wow, Morgan, maybe you're not all that smart after all.
Oh, oh, I want that to happen. Please let that happen. But yeah,
Man.
really,
Yeah, but I mean, again, I know Nebu's your favorite character, and you just want to see her again, and I don't
oh
blame you.
yeah,
It's been weeks, weeks since we've had her.
yeah. But yeah, really good chapter. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, Witch Watch always a good time. I don't think I remember too many chapters I disliked. I thought last week them kind of repeating a joke was like, okay, well that it was still fun, but I thought was hoping for something new. But other than that, really, I don't think I've ever really been disappointed by a Witch Watch chapter. It's just like, are we getting plot? Are we getting
Slice of
jokes?
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I of course prefer like story stuff myself, but the jokes and Shinohara is so good at it that I don't even care.
yeah. So,
That's why it's like I think some my top like of the magazine somewhere.
yeah. So, which series do you want to talk about next?
Yeah, so let's see. I know a big chapter you want to talk about, particularly this week, was MHA, but we could save it for later if you want.
Yeah,
We could do Blue Box. I think that's a pretty simple one to go over.
yeah, that's a simple one to go over. So let me just get up the pay. Let me get rid of them two and get that off screen. So yeah, Blue Box.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
basically, quick
and you,
summary because it's a new series.
yeah,
Oh,
you.
sorry, were you gonna?
I was gonna say, yeah, you've already made your feelings on the series known. I think to me, the reason why I enjoy it a lot is because of the character interactions more than anything.
Yeah, it is good character interactions. I just feel like the series is kind of weak on a lot of fundamentals, but it's also, I feel, more just like trying, it's not really trying to be like, I think, genre defining or mind blowing. It's just more just trying to be a cute, fun story. And I think, like I was saying before, this um, is another magazine that I feel like is trying to more emulate more classic series because even the romance triangles and dynamics we're seeing feel very reminiscent of older series, which is fine. But I'm just not like super invested in the story, and I'm kind of weirded that a lot of people like rank it pretty high in their magazines. I was expecting maybe like some like really like complex characters or something really interesting with the motivations or some plot developments that to blow my mind, but no, I really didn't get any of that. It's a run of the mill romance high school story that parallels some sports and competitiveness with that. But it
Yeah,
does have some nice plot twists and character interactions. Unfortunately, I got spoiled on some of the plot twists, but then that's my own fault. I was not really actively avoiding any spoilers
yeah,
in the
yeah.
series.
So yeah, this chapter starts off from the ending of the last chapter where we have the MC in Inomata. Or what was his? It's hard
Taki,
to Taki. Yeah,
Taiki,
Taki. Yeah. In fighting Chisui. However you pronounce her name.
Hina.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was not Chizu Hina.
No,
Like
you're right. Her last name is Chozo, but Hina.
Chozo. Yeah, Hina Chozo. So inviting her to go to a fireworks festival because they never got a chance to do before.
Well, they did was they were younger, but they haven't been in years.
Oh yeah, they haven't been in years. They haven't been in years, and they want to go again. And we have a couple. We have one of Hina's friends saying like, "Oh, are you gonna going on a date?" No, but yeah, when a boy and a girl goes to the fireworks festival, it is a date. So yeah, just say it's a date. Come
I
on.
will admit, like some of these friends, they almost feel like plot tools to me. Because there was one
Yeah,
friend who
they
was
do.
talking to Chinatsu, who's like not barely in this chapter, but Chinatsu, where she was like, "Oh man, Chinatsu, I bet if you were living with a guy, you would fall for him." And I'm just like, you just described her exact situation without knowing her exact situation.
Yeah,
This I don't know, moments there are some dialogue and moments like that that make me feel like really, that's eye rolling. It's like, oh, it's a boy and a girl, it's probably a date. It's like, how old do you think I am that you need to explain this? But I have heard other people say that they like about this series is this is a good series for people who have experienced these kinds of things to kind of reminisce, like this is what high school was like. But I'll be honest, like I didn't have any of these things. I didn't play any sports. I didn't have like
no,
weird high school romance
this
nonsense like
this
this.
this was nothing like my high school. If anything, my high school life was more. Well, I'm trying to think like what was my high school life more like. It was more a like the series A Silent Voice. Have you seen the film A Silent Voice?
It's on my list. I've heard good
Yeah,
things.
yeah. But obviously I'm not hard of hearing, but I do have a disability that basically got me bullied. So it's kind of like a combination of the two main characters in that film slash series. When I was in high school, like, but bullied because of my disability and treated more as a guy like, oh, he's kind of like just someone who kind of like just do what he does. Just don't really pay attention to him all that much. So yeah, I had nothing like this in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say mine was more like an anime called Hyoka, where I was like very low energy, didn't care too much about things, but I kind of just like, I think if anything, I was just the more standard straight A student who sometimes stayed after school to play games with friends. That was so nothing too manga related as far as I know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I think again, a lot of people like to self-insert themselves and think like, oh, maybe, as well, if only this was like my high school life,
I'll
sort
be
of
honest,
thing,
I don't think I really want their high school life. It's way too drama filled for my taste.
right? So yeah,
Because
uh,
sometimes I'll look at these sports series and they'll talk about, like how these are very important to them, and I understand that. But at the same time, sometimes I look back in high school and it's like some of the things I thought were important in high school are really not that important.
no, they really aren't.
So if anything, it's more like in adulthood. It's just like, I mean, I think I did high school like the right way for the most part. Maybe I could have got more involved in a few things here or there, been a little less socially awkward. But other than that, I feel like I wasn't like, man, I should have gone off and just dedicated like hours of my life to like sports or something.
Yeah, and also as well, like you get like the people who are like, oh, I'm the trendy kid, the cool kid. Like, hey, after high school, that does not matter.
Yep, also true. Because yeah, your identity is very much
Yeah,
shaped by the
yeah,
cliques you're in.
yeah. But when you get out of high school, it's like
It really doesn't matter.
people
You're just
stop.
like a person. Your profession almost matters more than
Yeah,
anything else. And even then, it may not. You're,
yeah, and it's like people stop giving a crap about what people think.
mm-hmm. Yep. Glad that's over.
Yeah,
But anyway, so then they were talking about the fireworks. Also, the other thing with Taki. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure how far you are. But I'm like on page like 6 and 7 right now.
yeah, yeah. I'm on pages 6 and 7.
Okay, cool. So like the whole Yukata thing. I mean, the whole nape of her neck. I'm just like, really, Taki? Why do you got to be so weird about it? Like, I would understand if it's just like, oh man, she would look nice in yukata, whatever.
You
But
cutter.
it's like
Yeah,
bringing up like the nape of her neck and everything.
I
It's
know.
just so weird.
I really don't get that. So yeah, this talking
Taki
about.
can just be so cringe for me sometimes, like in his
Yeah,
inner
he is.
thoughts.
He is a bit cringy at times as well. I would agree with that. So yeah, they're talking about going to the fireworks festival. Who they're gonna go with. We cut over to a badminton match taking place. Basically, a good practice match as we
I
see.
love like the badminton matches just because of the artwork that goes into
Yeah,
them. The
definitely.
only thing is, I wish the series was more on that. Like, I feel like if this series could like almost rival Haikyuu if they focused on the sport itself, just because they have the art down, they have the action down, they have the passion. What they don't have, and they even have some more interesting plot developments, I think, than even Haikyuu had early on. But they don't have is they don't have the focus on the sport. They don't want to really dive into any of the individual sports on any of these series. So it ends
No,
up feeling a little generic to me.
yeah. Oh, just want to say something. Yeah. Hi, Danny Fo. It's all right. It's all right, man. We started late as well, so it's okay. You're all right.
Wait, I don't see anyone in the chat.
Yeah, yeah. I can see it now. Like, it came up. Danny Fo Griffin.
Oh, I'm not seeing anything on my end, but oh
Oh,
wait, yeah, there it is. I got it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
got it.
yeah. So yeah, it's all right, man. We started late ourselves anyway because I was out. So you're okay, man. It's cool. It's cool. But yeah, yeah, I
We're
agree.
currently talking about Blue Box.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I really wish like there was more focus on the sport. Like, or here's the thing. Like, try to combine them more effectively, if that makes sense. Like, you want a romance and a sports series joined together. Okay, fine, but try and do it more effectively. Like, basically, here's what they could have done. They could have easily instead of Chizuru, blah, her, oh,
Hina, yeah. Just call her
not
Hina.
yeah, Hina and Hina
Shinatsu.
and Shinatsu being on a badminton team with Taki as well. Like, it could have just been that rather than having different sports happening all the time.
I
If
see what
that
you're
makes
saying, but then
sense.
they might have to bring up the whole like lovers slash rivals and how that affects romance, which honestly would be probably more interesting than what they have. So I will agree with that would be a better
Yeah.
concept. I
Or
think,
maybe here's the thing. It could have started like, okay, you have Taki with a male partner, and you have Hina and blah 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 blah. Oh,
Shinatsu.
Chinatsu as like as like a female team, and they're sort of like the rival characters who sort of like start to hang around it, because like it could have been like the fact that they're really good at the sports that they do, but they're failing academically, and he's kind of like the opposite, and he has to become their tutor for their for their
Academics.
academics, and at the same time they kind of like help him to develop more as the game, yet still being kind of like rivals to him in a sense, if that makes sense.
I see what you mean. Like if they had more direct involvement in their improvements rather than random inspirational speeches that just boost up their performance randomly.
Yeah,
I think I think this story had like an interesting idea of having paralleling romance in sports, but it doesn't spend enough time with its sports, and its romance is extremely bare bones. So I feel like the, if they I see what you mean by doing it better, because if they fleshed out almost fleshing out both aspects would be better if they spent more time showing about like the intricacies of each sport while also giving us more for each character and what they want out of life and from a partner. Then yeah, that would be better, but I think that's almost too high of a level for the mangaka. Not to say bad about them, but I feel like with a lot of these new series, except of course those written by veterans, you can tell that this is like a first time series for some of these guys.
yeah, definitely. Uh,
But since we're on this match, I just wanted to mention that Haruyu is probably my favorite character in the series.
oh,
He
cool,
is hilarious.
cool. Yeah, I've not really with his character, he's just been kind of like, okay, yeah, he's fine. I've just not really had any like really good feelings. I'm more of a fan of like the nerd, the friend with the glasses, Tataki.
See, he would also be my favorite if he had more screen time, but
Yeah, I get what you're
he really
saying.
doesn't. What I like about him is he's the character who's on the outside, who's seeing all this stuff for what it is, which makes it more tolerable. One, I'm hoping he doesn't get entangled in this romance thing, because there was that one chapter where he was like, "Oh, Chinatsu is kind of cute," and two, um, I
I feel
mean, he doesn't. He's kind of plays Batman along with Haruyu, and like you said, like he would be a great character to really show like some about Haryu's developments and skills, and as a person and as a Batman player. But he's not even around that much.
no,
He's
no,
very much like almost a tertiary character in the story, which is
yeah,
sad.
yeah, that's sad. But
But
anyway,
I do like him though. I agree. He would be. He's probably like my second favorite, maybe.
okay,
After Haryu. Haryu's I just like because I love his like kind of jerkish personality where he's like trying to be a good senpai, but also it's kind of a douche.
yeah, definitely. So
But I
yeah,
think my favorite part of this chapter, because like I said, the romance stuff doesn't do too much for me, is the fact that they set up a university match. So we'll get to see some really high level badminton, which I think is where the series is at its best. So
yeah,
that'll be
I,
looking
and I
forward to that.
and I can't wait for that as well. So yeah, have a badminton match coming up. Then we see Taki interacting with Hina, who's basically asking like, oh yeah, the practice is on the same day as the fireworks festival. I should be able to make it, and
Yeah, I'm glad that I was a little worried that they were going to do conflicting dates or something, but luckily it didn't go that
yeah.
direction.
And then he's asking who else is coming, and she completely forgot to invite anyone. And this is where she messed up, because she could have just said it'll only be me and him, and that's where the chapter
Yeah.
ends.
So, I mean, the comments for this one, like, I get it. Like, she, Chozo slash Shina, she asked Taiki on this thing as a date, even if she didn't, even if she's denying it. So, in her mind, it was going to be the two of them having this moment together. But of course, since she didn't make that clear, I personally don't blame Taiki for being like, oh, hey, who else is coming? Because again, you can call this the dense protagonist being dense about the feelings. But at the same time, it's like this is a situation where I'm not too mad at the main character for not picking up on stuff because we're talking about like one of his best friends who's literally been pushing him to go after his crush for the longest time.
Yes,
And
definitely.
so how is he supposed to pick up on the signs that, oh, now she has feelings for me? I mean, like the even we as readers can only figure this out because we're seeing inside her head and perspective. He doesn't see any of this stuff. So I don't blame Taiki at all. But
No,
of
no,
course,
I
everyone
don't.
else is like, oh my God, Taiki, how could you say who else is coming? Of course, he's going to ask that. If one of my friends said, hey, let's go do this thing, I'd be like, cool. So do you invite anybody else? Because I'd want to know that.
Yeah, I would
So
want to know
I,
as well.
I see why people are mad, but I think it's stupid. This is one of those times where I'm okay with the protagonist saying this kind of thing.
Yeah. So
Of
yeah,
course,
so yeah, not the best chapter, but
no,
hopefully
but
it'll
the
improve.
next chapter with the university stuff will be really cool. I hope.
Yeah.
I actually, since we're talking about Blue Box more in general, the tournament arc that they had for the badminton, I really did appreciate the kind of twist that they had where Taki like just lost like really quickly because that's the kind of thing that you wouldn't expect but makes
Oh yeah,
complete sense. If you
definitely,
just had like
definitely.
a horrible matchup early on, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you beat like if you're up against the best in the nation or one of the best, you're gonna lose as like a first year, even as a hard worker. So I did like that. But what I didn't like is that some of the rivals they set up for him, like they do in most sports series, I don't think they didn't talk about like that one silent guy at all, who was like nice people shouldn't be in badminton. And I was looking forward to like seeing what his story was, but they didn't say anything.
Maybe we'll find out
So
more
that's the
about.
other thing I think with this series. They introduce a lot of things sports manga should, like rivals and enemies to face in the future, but they don't spend enough time to flesh them out, which is very bad.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. And my only guess is that he will be invited to the university practice as well.
Yeah, and I'm hoping if they do, because that's kind of where I was going with this. So thanks for picking up on that. Is that if they'll spend some time with these characters? Because now we're not in a tournament. Now we're in like a practice session, and usually in sports series, these practice sessions are usually when you can spend time with the characters being characters, get their motivations, their backstory, so we can really get invested in their matches. And maybe like if we're at a university level, we'll have some people who can really teach the technical aspects of the sport. Because again, what I liked about I'm not a huge sports person. I'll say that right now, even in manga. But Ice Shield 21 and Haikyuu are two of my favorites because they really go into the tactics and the elements of the sports themselves. So this series has only so far mentioned bits and pieces, which was okay. But I'm hoping for some maybe a whole dedicated arc to really uh, flesh this sport out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Agree with what you said. So yeah, I guess now uh we can either move on to My Hero or just briefly talk about Black Clover.
Well, we didn't even do Dr. Stone,
Oh no,
but
I was saving Doctor Stone for the end with My Hero.
oh, okay, cool. Um, oh, right, right. So we don't spoil anybody. But last thing I just want to say is, do you have any investment in any of the romantic ships so far? This
Um,
being one of those
I
kinds of series.
I, I really hope that the two mains just kind of cut the crap and just be like, come on, you're in love with each other, do something about it.
See, the way the series I feel is going right now is we've spent way more time with Hina and her inner thoughts and her struggles. Like Chinatsu, we only got brief glimpses about her romantic interests and things. Like she's obviously interested in Taiki. That's pretty obvious to us readers. But she's, of course, backing off because she recognizes Chozo's feelings. So I think that the series is setting up for like Hina and Taiki to be like endgame. Personally, I mean, I was of course at the beginning as someone who always like promotes like canon couples more than anything with the main two leads, but now I'm thinking that they're not gonna ultimately end up together. I just kind of want to bring that up real quick before we move on.
Yeah, yeah. I think the uh, I think what this author needs to do is take a page out of out of another series' books called G Good Ending, because that's a series that has two main love interests. But what it does is like it evens it out. So like the main character like confesses tries to confess to his main crush early on, but that fails, and so he kind of goes to the other one who kind of comforts him, and then ends up confessing to her, and that they don't know what to do, and they end up dating for a while, and then they break up, and then he ends up getting with his original crush for a while, but then they end up having a bad breakup. So it kind of feels more natural in that series. Like, okay, this is kind of a realistic situation of like you date someone, you break up with them, then you date another person, you break up with them, and then you kind of like figure out who you truly want to be with, sort of thing. That kind of like develops and all culminates together in the end, and I love it for that.
I mean, I definitely sounds more natural and less cringe inducing than some of this stuff, so I can agree with you it's better. But I personally really enjoy what Ayakashi and Mission Yozakura did. Oh, well, that's
Yes,
another series we could
yeah,
talk about.
we will get to Mission Yosakura because
Okay,
that's a chapter
but
I want to talk about as well.
okay, so but I just like it when like two people are just like interested in each other and just end up together without too much drama.
Yeah,
Because like the drama is just usually annoying, stupid, or really forced.
yeah,
And when it's not, it just makes like the people look stupid or just like bad people.
yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because
So
if you, the only other way you can really do it is if the characters just end up naturally realizing that they just want different things in life, which is almost too mature for the shonen
I
genre.
know, I know, I know. Yeah, and also
But
as well,
yeah,
side note, since you're caught on Blue Box, I am currently with Undead Unluck because I'm doing like the re-binge of it. So like I'm currently in the spoil arc, like the fight with spoil.
oh cool, yeah, I love that art.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean we had Andy marrying a zombie.
yeah, oh man, I forgot about that. Yeah, that series it had its fun stuff. It's just kind of it really should have done more fundamental things than I thought it would do. It just started skyrocketing in story, but it was very intentional based on
Yeah,
the authors. Yeah, but we'll talk more about that when you're caught up. So
yeah,
Black Clover, I'm assuming is what you want to do next.
yeah. Black Clover. We'll just do Black Clover quickly because there's really nothing more, nothing much to say about this chapter, pretty much. And I think that's kind of there was kind of like a discussion in the Black Clover chat on Control Chaos's Discord.
I mean, there wasn't too much. It was just like
Yeah,
things went fast, and it was more of the same.
yeah,
But
yeah. And I feel like is this becoming a problem with Black Clover?
I think for this chapter, not really, just because this was just like the fight that we were kind of expecting, just like a nice back and forth. I will say it's a little weaker than previous Black Bull fights where we got to see more coordinated efforts between the members while they're in like the little Megazord. But the best thing about this chapter is the art and of course the conclusion. But because it's like, what is Asta about to do? Is he about to do
Yeah,
another devil union, or some people have suggested he's going to pull off a new technique?
yeah. Personally for me, I feel like he's gonna combined with Lich. How do you pronounce his devil's name?
Oh, I think it's either Leave or Lebe if they use it.
Lebe, Lebe, or we could just say adopted brother, basically, because that's basically
Yeah,
what he is.
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
they are
So
siblings.
yeah. So even though the wiki doesn't acknowledge that, even though it
I don't
should,
see who wouldn't acknowledge that. I mean, that's kind of
even
the whole
though
point.
it should do. But yeah, I could see, or maybe Lebe will actually go into the sword.
Maybe yeah, that actually kind of almost connects more with like the new series that just came out. But yeah, I mean, if it's a new technique, that'd be cool. Some people have suggested him using like a sort of anti-magic zone. That would be awesome. So yeah, Black Clover. I'm hyped to see what's next. This chapter was just like a kind of just a back and forth fight with good
Yeah,
art.
just a back and forth fight with just the ending of like what is Asta gonna do, and of course we've
And
got
the
to wait.
fact they have to get Yami out, which you kind of already knew.
Yeah, even though Yami should be dying soon. Oh, well, what was that? Yeah.
Yep. So
Uh, so yeah,
yeah,
and
and
of
then there's a
course,
bunch of background characters going, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world."
yeah. Who are these characters?
They're part of the rebellion in the Spade Kingdom. They was kind of touched upon a little that they existed. They were outside the castle, like taking out the lower demons. It's fine
Right.
if you
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay. Fair enough.
They're not
Fair enough.
important.
But yeah, and of course we've got to wait 2 weeks now because Black Clover's on break next week.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you look in the chapter selection screen, it will say next
Oh
chapter
yeah, 14
14
days.
days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's on
Oh,
break
didn't
next
notice.
week.
Cool. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, Tabitha, take your break, and hopefully you have more cool stuff to show us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like you said, I don't think there's too much to talk about. I
No.
mean, yeah, just kind of like what is Asta gonna do, and I have no idea.
Yeah. So I guess we could talk about Mission Yotsuko family because that that chapter I honestly love. I think it's one of the funniest I've had in a while with Mission Yotsuko.
Yeah, and I have to say, keeping track of these timestamps was harder than I thought,
Yeah.
but
Sorry,
it's fine.
man. Yeah.
No, it's not your fault. I was trying to do a thing, but
All right. Well,
but we'll get better at this, guys. Maybe.
yeah, we will. We will. So, one thing
Yozakura.
yeah, Mission Yotsuko. One thing I want to say is that somebody posted on Twitter that they have actually dropped Mission Yotsuko.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I think I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about. They dropped
yeah.
Yozakura
It's
and Blue Box, and weirdly, when I read their Blue Box explanation, I'm like, you know what? That's fair. I started Blue Box despite knowing all of those things, but yeah.
yeah,
But Yozakura, I'm surprised because it's like, yeah, that would surprise me.
yeah, yeah. It was technical technology. Like some, they have technology in their username.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
But yeah, we were bringing that up because
because I have no idea what they saw that was so bad about this chapter. Because again, it was one of just like the most funniest, wholesome ones ever. But first
I
thing I
think
want,
it's just that it just the last couple of chapters haven't been doing that for them. So
okay, which I don't get as well. But hey, to each his own. Um,
yep.
but yeah, one thing I just want to talk about is this color page. Is the color page as well. So you have all the Yosakuras there, including I. Yeah, she's a Yosakura now. Deal with it. Just check. Just have her name be I Yosakura.
I mean, I think we've talked about this before. I'm kind of fine with the fact that the family didn't force anything on her. That was like a whole part of the story about that. But
Yeah,
uh,
but yeah, just have her called I Yosakura now. She's part of the family. She's in the color page now with them.
and she
That
doesn't actually. I mean, Taiju, I don't think had his last name changed despite being a Yozakura, so I doesn't need
Yeah,
it.
good point. Good point. Fair enough. But still, accepting that she's a member of the family now. But yeah.
Wait, I just saw
Oh,
Dan Vio Griffin. What S Clover? Sorry, I don't understand your
what's?
question, man.
Are you? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say what's Black Clover or what S Clover?
Because yeah, I don't know what S Clover means. I'm assuming you're asking something about Black Clover, but I'm not sure. Uh, just
If
get
you're
back to
asking
us on that.
if you're asking what Black Clover is, basically, think One Punch Man, but without but oh, just try like
Okay, here, let me try.
you try.
Basically, it's a story about a world with magic and a kid who was born without magic trying to make it to the top as the Wizard King. It kind of combines those ideas that we've seen in Naruto, except here it's like a magical world, similar to Fairy Tale, where everyone has a different type of specialization of magic. The thing with Black Clover, though, that is it kind of likes to go with that whole medieval fantasy setting a bit more than Black Fairy Tale did, and they want to focus on like these various different kingdoms and magic types, demons, angels, all those things. Okay, yeah. Your question was what's Black
Oh,
Clover?
okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of what Black Clover is about. The way I would recommend it is if you want a shonen that is much more traditional, except lightning fast. I think the appeal of Black Clover is the fact that you get that traditional shonen feeling with a fun cast, a main character to root for, rivalries, all that, but at a much faster pace than old school shonen used to do with drawn out training arcs and like millions of chapters worth of fights. Like this series gets going and keeps going, even to this day.
Yeah,
Which of course leads to some issues as well, but I think the benefits outweigh the issues for the most part.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Basically, what Party Jam said. So, if you I'd recommend it, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it myself. But I'd still recommend it for people who want a traditional shonen, um, but without having to deal with endless filler, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, hopefully that
yeah,
answered your question. We can probably get to Yozakura now.
yeah.
Let us know if you have anything more you want to ask about that.
Yeah. So we are Mission Yotsuko family. We want to talk about the color page here, where we have all of them together, and we have half of them just playing on Nintendo Switches.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's pretty cute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're
I
all
think
under like that. I forgot what that table's called, the Kotsu table or something, but it's
it's a
like the winter
Kotsu
season.
yeah, it's a Kotsu table. But I think my funniest part is that you have Nanano basically with like a turtleneck jumper that goes over his bucket head.
Oh yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
I like how even Kyuchiro is just like super chill at this
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, super chill, and he's actually. I think he's trying to attack Taiju, but he's just super chill. It's just super warm in there, and he's like, "Oh, fine. I guess I'll let him off just this one time."
Yeah. But then I guess we can get into the chapter unless there's more
Yeah,
color pages details you
yeah,
notice.
yeah. So anyway, chapter
So yeah,
is
this chapter is basically them cleaning up the house, looking for those old family records because they're gonna fight zombie versions of their ancestors.
yes, they're gonna fight zombie versions of their ancestors, and they are all hoarders, so they're just tidying up the house, and I just love I in this chapter of just like, oh, what's this lovely item? Can I have it? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she just gets what she wants because she's I and she gets everything because
Yeah,
she deserves it. This is the rules.
the rules of Mission Yotsuko. The cute chimera dog girl gets what she wants.
Yep.
Um, so yeah,
And
and
I think someone made a comment once where it's like I was the entire time I was like, yes, all according to plan. I get all the stuff.
yeah, so
But what
we
I liked about this chapter is
go ahead.
I do like those moments where you're doing like family house cleaning and you just stumble upon like old things you forgot are just there in the house, brings back memories, conversations.
Yeah. So we have another box marked Mutsumi. Shall we check it out? And she's just like, no, just carry it over there.
I wasn't expecting that to be a Chekhov's gun, but it
Yeah,
was
I know,
absolutely a Chekhov's gun.
I know. And then we have Kojiro being Kojiro because, of course, he has a body pillow of Mutsumi because he's Kojiro. And I love the fact that he just immediately is like, okay, okay, I understand. I'll get rid of it. But Mutsumi's like, yeah, he'll just hide it somewhere.
Yeah, of course you will.
Yeah,
Because that's not weird at all.
and of course, the whole reason why they're in this situation is that Futaba is completely paranoid from her defeat in the last chapter.
Yeah, but that leads them to realizing they need more information and look for family records.
Yeah.
Although here's one thing that I did want to bring up, just story wise. I thought there like a journal that the grandma showed Mutsumi that had all their like family secrets. Like I swear that's what they were gonna go for. I thought that's what that
Yeah.
journal was.
Yeah, I thought that was my initial thought, but then I thought like, maybe it's not the family records that they are looking for. Maybe it's just like information on just
You
them
think that might
personally.
just be from like
But like
uh,
it's just information on the current members of the Yozakura family.
Mm, I didn't pull that chapter back up, and I don't want to really find it. But yeah, I'll just accept that they need more information than what they have.
Yeah,
Plus,
because
it
it's
was
not.
it's
Because here's the thing about the Yozakura family is that it's such a well generational thing that maybe that journal that the grandmother has that's only scratching the surface.
could be. And I mean, it's fine either way. It's a fun chapter. I'm willing to make the excuse that they need to find more information.
Yeah.
So then
They realize and of
they
course
talk about all the things they like to hoard, basically.
yeah, and of course, because this is a show Jump series. Look at this horde of old Jump issues. Of course, they have old Jump issues, which
I
begs the
like how in
question.
every Jump series, their universe exists where there's Jump.
Which begs the question. This will be
Which is
interesting.
the real universe?
No, this will be interesting to find out which of their favorite Jump series it is. For Nano, it would obviously be Doctor Stone.
Oh, yes,
For
100%.
Korijo, it would be Hunter x Hunter because of Illumi.
Sure, I can go with that.
Yeah. Kate,
I was thinking like some other spy series, like Spy X Family or something. But
nah,
yeah,
I would say Hunter x Hunter is more of his style. Um,
okay.
but yeah, Keiko, like actually, yeah, let's do that. Like, what would Frutaba's favorite Jump series be?
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. We know she really likes tea ceremonies and stuff, but very bad with horror. So definitely not like any dark series, but
Oh my
probably like
god! Oh my god! Can you imagine? Like I know what Kate like Shinso's favorite series would probably be something like Chainsaw Man.
oh, yeah, I could see that with all the
Yeah,
weapons.
with all the weapons and everything. And I could just imagine him being like, hey, Futaba, check out the like just as a prank," and he just shows her the chapter of the Darkness Devil.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because like Shinzo, like you have the picture like on the screen. He was
Yeah.
like the notorious scaredy cat in the beginning of the story.
Oh yeah, good point.
Isn't that funny?
I know, I know. But yeah,
But yeah, I can't think of a story where they would have like a lot of weapons otherwise. So
yeah.
sure, that fits. And then let's see, we have
Shino, like
Shinzo. Or
no, we've
no, we
done
did Shinzo. Let's
Shino,
see, Futaba and Keigo. Let's see.
Futaba, and Kate.
So we know he likes outfits and costumes. I know there's a manga about that, but none in what's one in Shonen Jump? I
Hmm.
would almost I mean, I don't know if I want to bring up Act Age right now, but maybe if that was still
Yeah, yeah,
run.
go. Yeah, let's just say his favorite manga, like maybe that might have happened. He might have been reading that page, and then he found out. He was like, "Yeah, I'll find a different series one day."
Yeah, because like I'm thinking about all the current ones because I do read like most of them, but yeah, I feel like his favorite series probably would have been Axed. But
Yeah,
the older sister, what would hers be? Like, I was thinking if there's any like manga with like tea or
I would say I
sewing.
would say her favorite series would be something more on the slice of life side. So
Is
I
there an old series like that's like about a bigger sister, like focuses on an older sister?
an older sister. I'm yeah. Aside from Aishimon, no. but then she probably wouldn't read something like that. Like, I'd say something like, I don't know, Witch Watch would be something like up her alley.
Yeah, maybe. And then then they have like
She,
Shion, which
Shion.
I think she would be like Jujutsu Kaisen, honestly.
Uh, I'll take your word. I'll take your word on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I say that because she really likes games, and I mean, one, not only do they bring up Smash Bros. A couple
Oh
times in that
no,
story, but
no, actually, a fourth series that would be her favorite, Yu-Gi-Oh.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, if we're going to bring up like older stuff too.
Yeah, we never said it couldn't be older stuff. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I could see that. That fits.
Yeah. Um, Mutsumi. What would her favorite series be?
Yeah, I feel like she would be a Blue Box fan.
Oh yeah. No. No. We Never Learn would be her series. That would be her series because
Yeah, that could work too.
because it had the ending where it was basically everyone won because the author gave everyone each their own endings and We Never
Yeah, I
Learn.
do remember that.
Yeah, and Taio would probably be something action based. So I'd say Black Clover. I'd say
Yeah,
Black Clover would be Taio's series. So yeah, just a random tangent of talking about what their
and if we had to
favorites.
bring up I as a family member, she's a kid, so I would think it would be one of the gag series.
I'd say me
So
and
maybe
Roboco.
something like Roboco. Yeah,
Yeah, me and Roboco would be more of her thing.
yeah, that would work.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone is a cluttered mess, and this is where we get Mutsumi going into her. Right, I need to be the head of the family now. You guys, we're gonna talk about what drives me nuts. You are all
It's funny
completely
because she is like
soft.
the youngest person in this house. Oh, wait, no, she isn't.
No,
Never
no,
mind.
no, no, she isn't. It's
Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. I was
yeah,
thinking like the head was the youngest, but no, it's just the one without powers. Never mind.
yeah. I love the fact that she likes to have she's like the youngest sibling of most of these, but yet she has to listen to them, but yet they have to listen to her because she's the head of the house.
Yep.
So yeah, Keigo, his crime against house hoarding is the fact that he has stone Keigo statues that are nude.
Yep. And I know the funny thing is, like, I know we already gave Dr. Stone to Nanao, but otherwise, when I was thinking these statues that are naked, I'm like, huh,
Yeah,
maybe he's a Dr. Stone fan.
yeah,
So,
I would say that, but no, it would be Nanano who would be Dr. Stone because he's like into all that science, chemistry kind of thing.
yeah,
So
yeah, for
that
sure.
would be more of his style. And Kegel's excuse was, I thought they would be soothing and easy on the eyes, and then it's like, no, the sight of them makes me stressed, and of course, I get some mini Kegel.
Yeah, it looks like an amiibo.
Yeah, it does. It does. And
And then Shion, she has like, yeah, I
I
think she
love
has like one of the worst because she has like multiple copies of the same thing.
I loved it. I love this because it kind of reminds you of like because I've got basically Doctor Stone on DVD plus the volumes as well. It's kind of like I've got multiples of the same thing.
Yeah, but in her case, I think she has like literally multiple copies of the same book. So that would be like if you're having multiple issues of volume one, like a first edition, second edition.
Oh yeah. Okay, fair enough. And she and
Sorry, just bringing up the chat again. It's like we
okay.
have to start over with Dr. Stone.
Oh yeah. That's in reference to the fact that we're trying to get a moment to binge Doctor Stone, and we stopped, and now we're gonna have to start all over again from the beginning
Okay.
because it's been a while. I'll just say it to him now. Are you off like on Monday, Danny Theo? Are you off on Monday? Because we can do it then if you want. Just let me know. just let me know when you're available, and we'll be able to do it.
And for anyone else watching, if you need a shonen, new shonen to marathon, Eden Zero, season 1 is now fully on Netflix. I was watching that yesterday. So
yeah, but yeah, going back
that's
to
my 2
it,
cents.
going back to
So
it, she's
then I get some
wasting.
more stuff.
Yeah, she's wasting it on it, and Shino saying, "You don't understand the heart of a collector seeking perfection." Okay, so do you want this magical girl one back? No, that was meant to be a secret. Yeah, and then of
And
course Ai gets it, and she
yeah, and
and
then we have Shinzo,
show
which is like my favorite. It's like, why did you buy the
what?
ballistic missile? And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
Yeah,
You
what?
shouldn't have this in the house.
Why does it? Why did he buy? Why did he buy it? And his
He's like, because it
excuse,
was so cool. I couldn't
because
help it.
it was cool. It was cool, and then Ai's just looking at it like so cool. Like if she
So
thinks
did I
that's
get the missile?
if I thinks that's cool, she would lose her mind in Doctor Stone's world.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could just imagine I just doing that scene from The Simpsons where Homer's just on a bomb and it's just like and it's just like imagine him riding a bomb from a plane.
I'll have to look at that scene because I don't think I remember that one.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a scene where Homer goes to like a weapons area and there's a bomb there and he just rides it and he imagines him riding it from the sky. And I could just imagine Ai doing no, I can imagine Ai doing the thing that Uraka did in My Hero Academia, hugging the missile in the
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that
Oh,
yeah.
I got the missile. Yeah.
I mean,
And then Futaba saying, my, no wonder the house is a mess, and then she's being questioned as well. Like what
yeah, she's apparently collects antiques. That's her thing.
yeah.
Which I kind of like how even her plushies are like 19th century English plushies.
I need to look something up quickly because I believe it was stated that Mutsumi's least favorite thing is pottery.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Mission Yozakura family. Mutsumi Mission Yozakura. So yeah. Trivia. Yeah. Mutsumi. Oh no, it was poetry. Poetry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, so that's her least favorite thing. And of course, I gets the fluffy panda bear. Panda
Yeah,
bear.
in the 19th century.
Yeah. And ironically, the one who you think would be the most messiest turns out to be the most tidiest. But of course,
Yeah, but I guess it kind of makes sense. You have to like a good lab worker keeps the lab stuff clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Kirichiro, of course, has Mutsumi samples.
Yeah, Mutsumi samples everywhere. But the creepiest thing about it is that Nanano has their hair and saliva samples.
Yeah. The weird thing is, since this might be one. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the weird thing is like I want to know how did he even get their saliva?
Yeah, I'm assuming like he asked for it because it's probably.
But yeah, that would be a question.
For
like
medicinal purposes.
Why?
Well, the why is kind of in the next panel. They're useful at keeping track of everyone's health and prescribing effective medicines.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
basically like this is just like their extra way of being a doctor. But what I was going to say is, I wonder if these DNA samples will come into play later in the story because they brought it up. Because like everything else just feels like random junk, except maybe the ballistic missile if they ever need a ballistic missile. But the samples, I don't know if they ever want to make clones. They have all the DNA.
Yeah, could potentially happen if there's a cloning blooming or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course,
even I didn't want any of the Mutsumi collection.
Yeah, and I love this has got to be like the funniest Korijo moment in the series. Like, not my precious Mutsumi collection, and it's like he has plushies, he has pillows of Mutsumi, a picture of Mutsumi, and yeah, take it to the cinema. And he's like, no, and yeah, even I didn't want it. Like, that's when you know it's bad, when even I doesn't want something. But
Yeah.
I think she's having flashbacks of the fact that she doesn't want anything of Koichiro because he basically, to be a part of the Yozakura family, you've got to endure the 7 days of training, including my training.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we think that Taiyu's going to get reprimanded, but of course, him being Mutsumi's husband, they're going to collect memories together, and it's only just beginning.
So yeah, that's Tayo has basically just learned not to cross his wife. He's a good husband in that sense. But then we get all the Kyoichiro stuff was just a setup for the real joke.
Yeah, the real joke
at the end.
Yeah, is the fact that Ai finds a Taiju fan, and they're like, Taiju, when did you make this? Why would I make a fan of myself? I'm not like Keiko.
Yeah, and then it's just they figured out it was the Mutsumi box, and then you go, oh no.
Oh no. And they're like, oh, my hand slipped, let's just have a look in here. And she is a Taiju fangirl, basically. She's a fan of her husband.
Yeah.
And I honestly was expecting a moment where Koichiro just basically used a few of his strings to kind of pull her up by the arms and being like, can I have my Mutsumi collection back now?
I mean, I think they'd probably still throw away some of her stuff. I feel like they would have to because that's only fair. But it's also hilarious how everyone's like, "Oh wow, you really are like our big brother here."
Yeah.
And I did find that funny. I think the other thing that's funny is the fact that it's like, okay, being obsessed with your sister is weird. Now, being obsessed with your romantic partner, on the other hand, that is a-okay.
Yes, definitely. But she's so embarrassed by it, but she.
Oh, and they have to hold like Kyuchiro back. I don't know if you're on page 20.
Oh yeah. Yeah, as well. It's like, because he's like, why can't you direct such love as me? You resemble me so closely. God, just make a clone of yourself, Koichiro, if you want to love yourself so much.
No, I think what this line meant to say is that they have similar habits.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh man, but I'm just like, man, this obsession thing was really funny, and I do kind of agree with the siblings that this couple is sometimes kind of weird. I love them, but they're kind of weirdos.
Yeah.
And then of course I is the only one who actually remembered what they were doing.
Yeah, and she's like, I found the journal.
Yep, she was staying on top of everything. Oh man, but yeah, this chapter was a fun one. I guess it's not like amazing, but it's just like one of those like in between plot chapters. But I think this was a nice way to integrate it into the story as well, where it's like, okay, well, we need to do this before we can move on. So it felt a lot more natural than okay, time for a random family outing.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that, and I cannot wait to
This
find
didn't
out.
rank too high for me, but it was a good chapter.
Yeah, and I cannot wait to find out more about the past of the Yozakura family.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that journal, especially if it'll explain like why a head of the family has powers, or if they at some point they stopped having powers.
Yeah.
Because that's like the big thing I want to know.
Yeah. So now I guess we can move on to talking about My Hero Academia.
Oh, cool.
And then we'll wrap it up with talking about Dr. Stone.
And would that have been everything?
Yeah, that would have been
everything. Heavy on Undead Unluck, and yeah, I think that's everything. Cool.
Yeah.
So, My Hero then.
Yeah. So I guess we should just address the elephant in the room and yeah, say what everyone has been saying, that this has got to be one of the most cliched twists ever.
Wait, cliched?
Like not cliched. Sorry, that was a bad word. Like most disappointing. Yeah, that was the word I was
Yeah.
thinking of. Yeah,
Okay.
disappointing twists in modern shonen.
So I want to say a couple of things now that we have context. Because, okay, so for those who don't know, I guess this is MHA spoilers time. The last page was basically All for One talking about how he has friends in different places, and then we cut to a panel with Invisible Girl. I don't even remember her name, and I'm not going to look it up.
Toru
Uh,
Toru Hagakure.
Okay, Hagakure then. So we have a picture of Hagakure, but I want to say a couple things because everyone was talking about how, oh wow, this was the big traitor reveal that they hinted at for a while and brought up every now and then. But to be fair, that might be. We had a chapter like a long time ago when the traitor stuff first started coming up, like forever ago, season like 4 maybe, where we had the Ioma like almost implied to be like a traitor, but then we realized that was just like a red herring for us. So I think that there's a chance that this is another situation where it's framed in a way to make us think this is Hagakure is the traitor, but not necessarily because it's not like he all for one called out her name in any capacity. It just kind of shows her panel. So it could be that she's the traitor, but other people have pointed out that some other Class 1A students were not even pictured in this chapter when we were talking with all the students before. So the fact that they are suspiciously not around might be implying something. But one
Well,
way, I
uh,
guess so. My thing, what I want to say is like, before we begin the discussion of Hagakure
yeah,
being the traitor, there's a chance that she's not the traitor and this is a mislead. So I'm not drawing any conclusions on that just yet. But okay, we can then start with Hagakure traitor
yeah.
reveal.
Personally, for me, this was something so of it that I did it as like when Teki did it like 3 years ago. Who do you think's the traitor? This was my pick, just because she's
Hmm.
invisible. She's Invisible Girl, but I really didn't want it to be that. That looking back on it, because I think like, no, this if this is the case, then you've gone with the person with the least amount of development, and it's like, oh, really? Make us
Well,
care about that. Like, tell me
yeah,
why I should care about Hagakure being the traitor.
yeah. Which I mean, if she is, the next chapter might be that. But what I want to say with Hagakure is that I read some theories about her being the traitor, so I don't feel like this is the most out of nowhere theory. I don't think it's necessarily, you can't say there was like no way we could have known because some people were theorizing early on with her absences in certain places, and of course the fact that she's invisible, so we don't think of her as much. But my thing with the UA Trader was that I kind of wanted it, kind of like what Luke was saying. I wanted it to be like a character we knew a little more about. Because the problem with Class 1A and why this chapter as a whole like wasn't super impressive to me is that I don't really care about most of these students. And the students that I do care about already have like their full arcs completed to the point where I have a hard time believing they would be a traitor. Like Todoroki or Bakugo or anyone like that, like
Yeah,
or Uraka, for example. I don't like her that much. Momo, she's probably one of my favorites. But like, if one of like let's say Momo was a traitor or something, then that would like actually hit me a bit harder because she
yeah.
had character arcs and I really got invested in her character. But
Now,
if it was
hit.
someone like Hagakure or Shiro, as people mentioned, he wasn't here, or the guy who talks to animals, I forgot his name.
Koga, but no,
Man,
Koga
you're
is
good at this.
Koga is there because if you go on to pages 6 and 7, you can see him behind
Okay,
You can see him behind Bakugo.
yeah, I think I did see him. I guess I more was saying if he was revealed to be the traitor. Like
Yeah,
them, I wouldn't have like cared about because we don't know anything about them. So, and while you could argue that, oh well, someone we don't know about is suspicious, it's also equally arguable that, okay, true, if this was their whole point, it's like who's left behind, but Class 1A is full of people we know so little about that, like the guy who eats a lot of sugar, he's here, but like I don't care about him.
Yeah,
Then they have like Ajiro, who had like a moment or two, and he's a cool dude, I guess, but I don't care about him. So there's so many characters we don't know about that saying a character we know so little about is should be a good idea for a trailer. It doesn't make sense. A character we do care about would make that
like
at least fits the trader profile.
yeah,
I did. Sorry,
like
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, if it was me, if I was Horikoshi and I was gonna reveal to be a traitor, but I didn't want it to be like one of the main characters, I would have gone with Jim. Like, here's the thing, I would have gone with Jiro being the traitor.
I'll be honest. I still wouldn't be too satisfied with Jiro just because her whole thing was the backstory with like music and being a hero,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, but
found that kind of lame.
here's the thing: we at least know, we at least know, like, we at least know a lot
Like what her
more that,
backstory is.
like, what her backstory, like, or here's the thing: like, if it was her and Kaminari being the traitor together, then
See,
that,
Kaminari, I would have a hard time buying because of how much we know about him. Like they would have to like go into some mind control level stuff to make me buy my Kaminari. But sorry, I don't mean to criticize your choice too much, but I don't think Jiro would have been the best option either. If I had to pick one, and I thought this was going to happen during the war arc based on one of the color pages, Mina would have been my choice because she's another character where we know her story, but almost indirectly through Kirishima. So it's kind of like
okay,
going with Undead Unluck, where Billy was. I guess the spoilers for Undead Unluck. I don't know. It was forever ago, but Billy was the traitor.
yeah,
But we
that,
knew about Billy through Tatiana's backstory. So a character who we know about through other characters, like that's someone I think who could fit. Like, and a
yeah,
character like Mina who just seems super nice and stupid would fit. Kaminari might have been a decent option too. We know a little about him, but I would have a hard time finding his motivations.
like,
But
here's the thing of what his motivation could have been. It's like, because he's the cool, trendy kid, he could have been like, or this could have all been an act on Kaminari's part all the time. Like, he was just acting.
it could be, yeah. And I could buy that. Uh, but then, because even I would accept that as a better trader option. Uh, the other character I was thinking of, but I'm blanking on her name right now, is like the girl who's like the president of Class 1B. Because like I'm not a huge fan
Oh
of Class
yeah,
1B in general, but at least with her, we're at least more emotionally invested in her. That and also I really like Monoma, and I don't want him to be the traitor because I like him. He's like one of the
it
characters actually like in the story.
isn't he the one who's just like berating?
He copies powers. Yeah, he breaks Class 1A.
All right, yeah, yeah. Uh,
And I don't want to be
honest,
Shinzo either because I really like him and I want him to be a hero and
honestly,
everything.
honestly, I can't stand him. Like,
Are we talking about Shinzo?
no, no, shit, the other guy.
Oh, Monoma. Yeah, most
Yeah,
people don't like him, but I enjoy him because his story actually kind of makes sense about like why like he looks down on Class 1A. They get a lot of fame and notoriety for just being involved in a bunch of
like,
random incidents.
here's what would have redeemed him for me personally is if you know that hero that was like looking around everywhere. It's like, maybe I should quit being a hero in the
Yeah,
at the
I
end of
think
the
you
war.
talked about this. Like, you thought maybe he would be one of those people to lose confidence in his desire to be
Yeah,
a hero. But I mean, and I said to you that, okay, that would have been a great use of his character. But honestly, like, Monoma is a character who I think already is struggling to prove himself to be a hero that I don't know if it's like, because almost weirdly, Uraraka has weaker motivations to be a hero for
yeah,
money.
but no, no. The way I was seeing it is like, cause he's so boisterous, like, oh, Class 1A, what are they all about? We're just as good as them, and then he actually gets into a serious, like, this is life or death struggle, and he turns to Araka and says like, is this what you guys have been going through? And she's like, you don't know the half of it, something like that, and he's like, crap. And it just dawns on him. It's like, all that crap he's been given class 1A, and now he's had to experience what they've been through. That kind of like opened his eyes a bit. That would have kind of like made him a little bit more like, okay, this is where they're going with his story. It's like he starts off as thinking like, oh, I'm so great, I can do everything, and then when he's put into that situation, it's like kind of hits him like a ton of bricks, exactly how big and how scary the world is.
Okay, I mean, I can dig that. I think Monoma is going to get some character arc going forward, but that's just based on some stuff Horikoshi has said before, and I'm looking
Okay,
forward to that.
all right.
But back to the traitor reveal. Yeah, so I think there's a few other candidates I think that would have worked better for sure, and it could still be one of them. I was really digging the theory where the principal was somehow involved in this. That
Yeah,
was a fun
yeah.
one.
That would have made a lot of sense. I could have honestly, I would have liked to. Honestly, I could have seen President Mike being the traitor at some point, just based
I
on
mean, that would
just
be interesting. I would
just
have a
based.
little bit of hard time buying it, but if Horikoshi can do it right,
Yeah, it
I
was
could.
just based on the way he looks as well, because the way he looked initially when he was first being conceived. It kind of looks more villainous.
Oh, I didn't really see that, but okay.
Let me just find let me just find a picture quickly.
Sure, if you can. So let's see. Anyway, we were talking about the traitor reveal, but that's also because like most of this chapter doesn't have too many more interesting elements to it. I mean, it's just All Might talking to Deku about what's happening, and AFO talking to the League of Villains about what's happening. So it nothing really interesting is happening so much as everyone's preparing for like a bigger fight down the road. So it could be. I'm hoping next week is more clarified on exactly who the traitor is, but I have a feeling it's going to be like Class 1A training, and we're just all going to have our eyes focused on Hakagure or whatever her name is, when someone else is who we should be paying attention to. I have a feeling that's
Yeah.
it's going to
Oh,
be happening next week.
it wasn't President Mike. It was Kaminari. Like,
Oh,
the,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've
yeah,
seen that. That one I
yeah.
got.
You've seen that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
sorry.
so that's why I think a Kaminari reveal would be cool because it again he's a character who we I mostly knew indirectly. We've seen him a couple times, but we've seen him enough that I'm invested in him, and also that he also has like a cool power set.
Yeah.
Uh,
But also the thing that I was saying about President Mike is that he was the one to initially say like we have a traitor, and it's like okay, why would you immediately go there unless you had something to hide?
I see. That's fair. I can see
Yeah.
that. But I think that would be hard to sell just because, I mean, I know you don't read the Vigilante's backstory, but we know a lot about President Mike, and it just kind of would not, it would almost like being Aizawa, being a traitor. Not quite at
Okay.
that level, but close.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah.
So I don't think that one would have worked as well. But
Okay.
so yeah, if this is the trader, like Horikoshi's gonna have to do some heavy lifting to sell us on it.
Yeah.
Maybe point out some stuff in the story that we might have missed of why this makes sense. But again, of course, there's always the excuse of she's invisible, people don't notice her, she could be anywhere, and
Yeah.
so anytime
And
we didn't see her is
she could have been making obvious signs right off the bat, like I am the traitor, without anybody noticing because they couldn't see her face.
mm, well, I mean, I will admit this if this is the reveal, which I'm still skeptical on. If this is the reveal, then it is pretty disappointing unless they can like sell it hard
Yeah.
next time.
I
Um,
my initial idea, which has kind of been thrown out the window because she's there with the League of Villains, is that Hagakure was actually Toga this whole time with a
I've heard some
different
people
quirk.
say that, but yeah, that doesn't make sense once you read the officials and see Toga right there.
Yeah, yeah. Like she had because she had that quirk which made her turn into other people. So she could have had that quirk plus the invisibility quirk as well.
Yep. I mean, I think they had some protections against Toga they mentioned for the school, so it would be kind of weird for her to be there in general. So I'm kind of glad that Toga's not there, because
Yeah,
also that would have been. I mean, look, if they made like a traitor being like, oh, it was Toga disguised as one of the students when the students was always Toga, that would bring a multitude of questions. Like if there was like a staff or student that was just Toga the whole time. So that I don't think that would have been a good twist unless it was very properly set up, which it wasn't.
Yeah. My question now, because again, like you said, not really much to talk about this chapter except the traitor reveal, is
Yeah,
since we
really.
see the silhouette of Hagakure, and this is kind of like the most we've got of Hagakure, like just visually in the series, what do you think she actually looks like?
That's a good question. Um,
Or
I
actually, a better question is: do you think we'll actually get to see her, like what she actually looks like?
I feel like we almost have to, just because I mean, I get that her whole quirk is being invisible, so she just stays invisible all day. But I feel like if you're drawing attention to this character who's purposely been hidden with her ability and you're making a big deal of it, we have to see her, and something about her reveals should be important. Like either she's going to be looking like somebody that we've seen before, or
Oh, oh. Okay, maybe she's related to one of the League of Villains. Like
yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that.
maybe okay, maybe they don't. It's not Hagakure's Toga. Maybe she's actually related to Toga.
I'm trying to remember Toga's backstory if they mention a
No,
sibling,
no,
but honestly, it's
I'm
been a
not.
while.
I'm not saying like just in the backstory in general. But if you look at their names sound similar. So you have Toga, like their first names sound similar. So let me get up their name. Let me get up the wiki for the chapter just quickly. My hero. Yeah. So oh, let me find it quickly. Yeah, here we go. Um, so we have uh Toga and Toru. Like their names sound so similar.
Could be. And if they wanted to go with a twin angle, similar names seems like a very typical Japanese thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not like an evil twin. Like they're both evil, just like different brands of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or maybe I was thinking since you brought up a connection, maybe she did all this because she was trying to protect her sister or something.
yeah, yeah. Like yeah, I could definitely see that.
So, like I said, there are ways to sell this. So, but I think also Horikoshi would have to like really start bringing up old details. And to be fair, he did do a good job with the Dobby reveal, which I mean was super
Yeah.
obvious.
'Cause,
But
I was just gonna say because it says on Toga's page, unnamed siblings.
oh, okay, so she does have unnamed siblings. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't remember if she had siblings.
it does say that. So she does have siblings. So and yeah, well, it doesn't say on Toru's page if she has siblings, but okay, maybe not siblings, maybe cousins or something like that. Like I want it to be like a connection between Hagakure and one of the League of Villains.
Yeah, that or at least a antagonist we've met before that has a connection with AFO.
Yeah.
Because I feel like her physical appearance has to be significant for some reason. Because like you watched or read Fairy Tale, right?
No.
Oh, okay. No, there was a character called Mystagun who was always like hidden, and his whole big thing is whenever he entered the Fairy Tale Guild, he would put everybody to sleep except like the top mages who could resist his magic. And like his appearance was kept secret, and there was like a plot related reason about why his appearance was kept hidden. So if you have a character who you have to keep in the shadows, it's usually like, oh, their physical appearance means something. And
Yeah.
that usually means they're connected to somebody based on if we saw them.
Yeah, I get what you mean. So, yeah, hopefully Horikoshi can do something with this. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep. So that's kind of it with my hero. Then
Yeah. yeah, that's kind of it with My Hero. So now we can
We have
move on.
Dr. Stone left, so Danny, if you need to head out, this is a good time to head out. We'll
Yeah,
probably just give you a few minutes here just before we
yeah.
start talking, because at least we
Danny
know you're
Fo,
here.
Danny Fo, you might want to leave now because we're going to be talking about Doctor Stone. Just,
Okay.
just,
I'm not sure if we're going to wait for a goodbye message or if we should
yeah,
kind of
just
talk in generalities.
let's let's just talk in generality. So,
Okay,
I
so
I think
yeah,
the first
my
I saw your tweet, tw- uh, yeah, your
Discord post.
the script post about it, and about you saying like the flashback was kind of not not something was kind of like your major nitpick here. But personally, I disagree. Like, do you have siblings?
I do. A younger
All
sibling.
right, all right, okay. So I could I would have thought you would have been like, okay, so yeah, this doesn't really showcase what we've seen in the flashback before, but again, they spent years together, so maybe so like and Sai wanted to get away with from Ryusui, but at the same time, they do love each other. They're siblings that do love each other, so maybe it was kind of like because in this situation, Ryusui's not being like, oh, do this for me. Like he's not being forceful or anything. He's being more like, hey, can you program it? Can you programming a sailing simulator for my ship? So he's kind of like he's not asking Ryusui, he's not asking Sai to do all the mathematics or anything like that. He's just saying like, hey, you're a programmer, so could you program this sailing simulator for me?
So you're saying that because they kept a simpler request,
Yeah,
that might be the justification. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I've heard. So, like on the other Doctor Stone Discord server, what you call the Wiki server, they mentioned that maybe that the siblings they worked together on some stuff, but then eventually one of them got fed up with it and stopped helping out. So I'm kind of willing to accept that, but it still feels slightly off. My interpretation of the story myself is that the request was made to make the simulator, but the computer programmer didn't follow up on it. So, like he asked for it, much like he asked for other things, as we saw, like throughout the childhood. But it was one of those things where he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." So what we're seeing is just like, oh, the model boat building, and then just like us, the sibling being asked to do it, but him not doing it as a child. But then as an adult, he is following through on making a simulator. That's how I've
yeah.
interpreted, just because
All
it
right.
fits canon a bit better for me. I do understand though, like you're right. Sometimes there are days where we're like, okay, I don't want to deal with my brother today. I'm just like not dealing with anybody, especially not him. But then other days where it's like, yeah, man, let's do this, you and me. So, because that is how like it is in real life. But in storytelling, I don't know. That was just like their big story. Like he literally ran from. Okay, it feels weird talking in generalities. Are we? Can we go back to specific
Yeah,
names now? Danny,
yeah.
you good? Okay, I'm assuming you're good. I apologize in advance if I accidentally spoiled anything for you. But yeah, okay. So with Ryusui, the fact that he oh god, I lost my train of thought. Okay, yeah, the fact that he had requested so much of him to the point where Sai, when he was first resurrected, ran from him on sight, screaming, made me think that like, okay, their sibling relationship was pretty strained. It could be have been like after years of this happening. I'm willing to accept that as one interpretation, but I think I kind of like the interpretation that even from the beginning, like I know that they were not completely antagonistic towards each other because Sai mentions that they were both outcasts in their family, so there was a
Yeah,
connection there.
yeah. So
So it could be you could be right. I'm sticking with my own canon for now, just because it fits
okay.
my head canon
Well,
better.
let's because I had the Dr. Stone trivia up, so let's see.
Oh, cool.
Did he say anything in the Dr. Stone trivia? Um, let's see. No, he doesn't say anything about it. So yeah, I can see what you're going for, but I like to think that it's more a case of like, oh, my brother's not being demanding of me now, and he's kind of like seeing that, yeah, I'm a programmer, so yeah, I'll help him out. I'll help him out this one time, and it just kind of snowballed out of control there. Yeah.
Okay, for sure. I guess we'll just
Yeah.
have to go with our own interpretations of
Yeah.
that then.
But one
Just
thing,
because, yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like that was like my only real issue with this chapter. When I read that, I was just like, huh, this doesn't fit. But otherwise, everything else is great.
Yeah. So yeah, Dr. Stone chapter 220. So we have basically the model of what I assume is going to be the final looking of the spaceship.
Yeah, which actually I might have to take back something I said earlier. I know I said it's like, oh, okay, that 5-piece thing that Chrome was saying, that was just an example. But no, this model looks like it's made of like those
Yes.
5 pieces.
Yeah.
So
We have
yeah, you take back what I said before.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So yeah, we have
Like there might be millions of components that make up those 5 things, but it's basically 5 major things.
yeah.
So yeah.
One thing I love about this chapter is that it seems like they're slowing down. Like they are slowing down in terms
Oh
of
yeah,
like,
yeah. Absolutely, which is nice.
like the pacing of that for a little bit. Not that the pacing wasn't bad, but it did seem to be speeding up a bit. But now it's like, okay, we're slowing down because we're still not even we're still not even at the spacesuits, which we can confirm that last image that was just a fantasy.
Visualization.
Yeah.
But I do want to bring up something about the visualization later on.
Yeah. So we have Sai after getting the sailing simulator. So like now we've got Microsoft spaceship flight simulator.
Yep, and at least based on my own interpretation of the story, I kind of like how this is like bringing their whole sibling dynamic, like kind of full circle, where they had troubles in the beginning, but now they're working together, bringing their skills together. Where Ryusui builds the models, Sai makes the computers, and they have someone who can bring all that together, like this in the form of Senku. So yeah, it's really great. And also, I don't know if we mentioned this last time, but the model rocket, this is the Senku 11, paralleling the Apollo 11.
I think I did mention that the last time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought you did, but just in case you didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I did. But yeah, also just gotta say, I know we're skipping ahead a bit, but the title page kind of mirrors what happens later on in the chapter, which was a nice touch.
Oh, you mean going back? Okay, yeah, page 1. Yeah.
Yeah, page 1. That kind of mirrors what's gonna happen later in the chapter, which is a nice touch.
I will admit it was really smart of them to call this a desire for all. Because when I first read this chapter, I was reading the Raws. I was like, oh, cool. This is a chapter focused on Ryusui, and I'm like, okay, and it kind of is. There's like an important arc to him, as we'll talk about, but it's like there's more to this than just
there is more to this. So yeah, we have Yo playing the space simulator, but of course Ryusui being Ryusui, he broke the record.
Of course he did. Yeah. I also do like how he did say it's like, yeah, I'm good at a game, but it's like I have to be at least this good if we're gonna be fighting in like space against the unknown.
We'll be a trip into seriously uncharted waters. And experience and intuition forged by the Stone World will be deciding factors.
And when I was first reading this, and I was thinking about like, what we're going to say in the show, this was going to be somewhere I was going to bring a nitpick, but it's actually addressed. So
what was it?
Good job. What? Oh, well, we'll talk about it at the end.
Okay. So we have Nikki and Ukyo saying that you're pretty darn experienced in that sense, but there's.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was talking about what Nikki and Ukyo said right there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean the nitpick I was going to have was what they said, but then it gets addressed by Ryusui at the end.
Yeah. So who could dream of of being a better pilot than you, Ryusui? of course, this is where Ryusui gets a flashback to when they were first in North America and they first encountered Stanley, which
Yep.
this was something pretty much a lot of people were kind of hoping would happen, that Stanley would be the pilot going to the moon, but
I was one of those people, so I'm happy.
yeah, and I'm happy just the fact that we get the best bad boy back now. We're kind of
So, since we're talking about that, this is my nitpick when I was first reading this, and I didn't understand the context of what we were seeing with the Raws, was that when Nikki was saying, it's like, oh man, no one has better piloting experience in the Stone World. And then I was thinking to myself, wait, but no, Zeno woke up at the same time as Senku, so Stanley wasn't too much further behind because he didn't have revival fluid. Everyone just woke up at the same time. So that means Zeno probably had planes. Zeno definitely had planes before Senku did. So Stanley, if anything, has more piloting experience, like both in the modern day and the Stone World. So I was going to be like, hey, Nikki, that's kind of wrong. Like both him and Charlotte have more experience.
Yeah, but of course it gets Ryusui thinking. And I love this about Ryusui's character, is the fact that even though he decides everything, there's always going to be someone that's just a little bit better than him, and I kind of like that about his character as well. When he acknowledges his own like limitations.
So what I want to say with that is, I feel like Ryusui has always been a character who acknowledges other people's talents to help him. I mean, Francois brought up this point, and it's the first part I started liking Ryusui, is when Ryusui brings his desires to elevate others as well. What I like about this chapter, though, is I don't particularly remember a time when there was something Ryusui was very talented at, like sailing or piloting or even like video games, where he was like, no, I'll pass on like this thing I'm talented at to somebody else. Because I think that's kind of the step up in his character arc here, which I know we're skipping ahead a little, where it's like this Ryusui desires everything, but he also acknowledges the talents of other people. This is kind of like the culmination of that, where he is acknowledging someone else is greater than him, and he's almost putting his desires aside for that. And that's like, it's really big for him.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree with that. So we have them basically simulating fighting the Medusas in space, and Korg questioning, are there going to be firefights up in space? Which that line makes me believe that there is going to be something when they get up there.
Yep.
Even before they get to the moon.
There's just gonna be guns like on the moon base, just starting fire. We're
gonna
go full Star Wars.
Not even on the moon base, like just something up in space itself.
Oh, like a satellite?
Like something up there that their satellite did not pick up, because if you remember, the Medusas, they weren't picked up by radio waves when they initially fell to Earth.
Yeah, they weren't yet because of the invisibility. Oh, okay. You're saying there's something else like with stealth tech hiding.
Yes, there is something else with stealth tech hiding up in space. Like that line has got me thinking that, yeah, there is something else going to be going up on there. Because Senku says we might engage in a firefight in space.
Then this kind of goes back to what we were saying last time. Why would you petrify yourself
on
launch when there could be people trying to shoot us down?
But yeah, they actually did address this. Granted, they did address this in this chapter.
To an extent, yes. But I still think petrifying yourself at launch is dumb.
I know it is. I know it is. But they did address this because they say that what's the ultimate weapon that the Y-Man has that they will never be able to prepare to counterattack? And Chrome says, obviously the Medusa. But and the trivia actually brought this up when Senku says, have we ever been the sort of dummies to rush to our deaths with our plan? No. He said something on the long line. Yeah, here it is. historically they've been rushing to their deaths and they've been relying on the power of petrification to bring them back. This has been happening
Yeah, I
since
was gonna
chapter
say in
1.
South America, the plan was, okay, we're just gonna eventually get these diamonds. I just hope like Stanley can be held off long enough, and they just
Yeah,
rush to their deaths with the plan of maybe we can bring ourselves back,
yeah.
which didn't
Except
even occur to
yeah,
them.
yeah. And I was gonna say like except when they rush to their deaths against Brody, against Stanley, against Ibarra, against Tsukasa.
I mean, against Ibarra, there was at least some plan.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
guess so.
Sukasa, I mean, they had a plan. It didn't work too well. And then when they got to the Miracle Cave, Kohaku was just like, I remember this from the anime. Kohaku was running at Sukasa, and Kinra was like, "Do you have a plan?" It's like, "Of course not. We just need to
Yeah,
buy time for Senku." So yeah, Senku, you guys are very bad at this. That's actually why this chapter was great. They made a plan this time.
yeah, they did. And
I don't agree with
what
all the elements of their plan, but it's at least a plan.
yeah, one nitpick that I really wish should happen is we had Kazuki at least talk with Joel.
Oh
Like
yeah,
just
you know what? That is a good point. I'll give you that. I definitely give you that.
just come on, we've come on. Uh have Joel be like, "Hey, Kazuki, I've got a glass of wine ready to share with you." And then Kazuki's like, we just get the gag of him just ripping his clothes off again.
I
But
mean, okay,
Joel's
look, all we had to do was bring Joel over with the watch and like a bottle of wine or
yes,
something.
yes,
All we had to do.
yes.
But I didn't even think about that till now. Dang it. Because I was just happy to see Joel again. And the fact that his master invention was a watch. I'm like, of course.
Of course it is because he's Joel.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the watch
I
maker.
love the fact that they've actually kind of brought back the idea of the the drip idea that Chrome had, except it's in watch form.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love about this invention because it's like it was set up before with the drip, which itself was set up before with the treasure island thought that Senku did. So this is like an invention that's like a nice culmination of everything. In addition to the fact, it's also I think kind of a good marker for when the kingdom of science, like we've reached the point where we're building rockets and computers and stuff. We've more or less got to like 1960s, 70s tech, so we're around modern age of effectively, minus like smartphones and like all the super advanced stuff.
Yeah,
So we can start making like more sci-fi stuff like this, where we have like watches with countdowns to like stop petrification. We have new age technology, new
yeah,
Stone Age
definitely,
technology,
definitely.
which is
And
awesome because like that it helps feed into the this is the last arc. We're not just uh, getting back to where we were because the world is already on autopilot doing that. We're advancing beyond it.
yeah, and also as well, we get the callback to seeing the giant pyramid of Medusas in South America, and
Yep.
the idea of like multi-stage attacks with
Yeah.
Sukasa bringing up the idea, should Wyman decide to fire consecutive waves of petrification beams, the second and third wave, and so on, would be delayed. There's no point otherwise. That means after the initial attack, there needs to be a countdown before the next one, before the
Yeah. And
Medusa. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I'll wait for you done.
Yeah, before the Medusa unleashes its wave of life, you must take action.
Okay, yeah. So what I was gonna say is, people were saying last time, it's like, oh, Sukasa just wrote himself out of the story. It's like, no, he didn't. He's still like the main like combat advisor. And even when they're on the moon, provided they have communication still, he's probably still gonna be providing like tactics and strategy and details because he's like a very intelligent general.
Yeah,
Like, even though he's not one of the wise generals, he's definitely the military general of this team.
yeah.
And
I,
so
I
yeah,
was
I just
gonna
kind of want to
say,
say Sukasa has a very active, important role still. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say that it's gonna get to a point that before they actually go into space, that they're actually gonna have to get webcams, like web cameras.
I think I think they kind of have that though. Remember with the satellite?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, oh wait, that wasn't through the internet though. So I guess if you want to be If you
Like
want to do it
just
that way, then sure. But I think it's
like
just a step up from that camera.
or maybe just have like cameras on the spacesuits as well, so that we get F F F FPV style, so like first person view style.
Oh, I've never actually heard that acronym, but yeah. I've heard of
Yeah,
point of view, POV, but yeah,
point of
either way.
view. That's what I meant. Point of view, POV.
Okay, cool. Yep, I agree with
Yeah.
that. We definitely need cameras on the spacesuit because, like, again, we only have like sending 3 people up there. So everyone else needs to see what's going on.
Well, unless we get more people, because people are saying like um Karka really should trade places with Chrome.
That doesn't make sense. She has to fight. She's the fighter. Chrome can't fight people.
Uh, well, that's what people have been saying. Something along those lines.
Well,
Um,
we'll get to stuff with Chrome a little later.
yeah.
Um, but
So
then
we
we have
have
the guns.
basically the gun net, the anti petrification beam weapon, which is something Shonen OG was kind of like expected to happen at some point.
Oh, really? Did he say on one of
He,
his videos?
no, he said something like maybe someone will have like a way to prevent petrification with like an anti petrification item. It wasn't anything
Oh,
to do
okay.
with the Kingdom of Science. It was just something in general.
Okay, cool. What I was gonna say with these guns is, like in the last chapter, we got visualization of our characters carrying guns, and I'm like, okay, well, other than Ryusui, who has these weapon experience, and will they be using guns, or was that just there? But yes, we are using guns, and there's a good reason. We're not trying to kill anybody. We're trying to counter the Medusa. So again, that was just a nice visual indicator of something to happen in a very natural way.
Yeah, and I love that panel of just like the three of them there, where like Ryusui's like the most steady of it. Kaku's kind of a bit shaken up by Senku's like, I have never used a gun before and I am scared of using it.
Yep. And I mean, again, that's like a nice attention to detail that our 2 characters without gun experience don't have it. And yep, the lines and subtle art details show
Yeah.
that as well. Even like right afterwards, the Kohaku barely missed her shot. Senku completely missed.
Yeah, no. Like Senku, you
So
are how much Senku, how much more unlucky can you get? Are you copying have you inherited Fuku's ability from Undead Unluck?
uh the other, I mean, this is like barely a nitpick, but um page is like 12 and wait, yeah, like
13.
page.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I guess 11 and then transitioning into 12. We see Yo using the gun slash cannon, um, the grenade net launcher, whatever. In one panel, we see people shielding themselves behind wooden doors, but then we also just see them without the wooden doors and like the actual explosion. So it's
Well,
very,
we see. I guess Yo just got off like flung back along with everyone else because you see him off his feet in that panel.
yeah, that's true, but we also don't see any of the wooden shields.
Maybe they got thrown down, like that they got thrown down just from the recoil of the blast.
And maybe, I guess that's not a big deal, but it's just like one of those things where not as, where it's like, okay, like having wooden shields is good attention to detail, but then where do they go?
Yeah, good
But
point.
not a big thing. I
No,
just wanted to bring that up just because I thought it was funny.
so
And then,
we get Senku and Kaku saying like, Spacebound Ryusui taking his job seriously. He realized he can't count on our shooting skills, so he's taking charge like a proper captain. So, kind of making it obvious on the head of what Ryusui's thinking here.
yep. And again, I like how they fed into, because like we were considering it's like what's like the big difference between like Stanley and Ryusui, and of course the piloting experience is there, but now with the gun detail added,
Yes.
that's even more reason that again, while Ryusui has of course more experience, like Stanley's military, top military, so he's going to be able to handle this much better.
Yeah. And
And we also of course get these repeated moments of Ryusui being very determined and praised for his skill, but at the same time, he acknowledges like how inefficient he is.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to says about his skill level because he's so skilled. He recognized how much more of a skill he would need for the conditions that they have to face.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then we get to the ending of the chapter where he goes to see Stanley's statue.
Okay, we're going all the way there. Let's see. Yeah, then everyone goes to sleep. He sneaks out, and then I guess the other nice detail is this is the cave where Tsukasa was kept in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this is almost like the cave of the sleeping warrior or something.
I know, but no, I just love the fact that they have like caution on there. Like, yeah, perfect to have that for Stanley's statue.
Uh-huh. Yep, that was a good setup.
Yeah.
Let's see. And there was now that we got to the Stanley reveal. Yeah, like I said, I wanted Stanley to be part of this, and this is another instance of like last chapter we saw Tsukasa, who was seen as the clear candidate to send to space, give his spot up to Kohaku, who he saw as more appropriate for the circumstances. And now we see Ryusui doing the same thing, both of them following character arcs, leading to giving up their seats to go to space, and especially in Ryusui's case for someone who really wants to go. So I'm bringing this up now because we might again see Senku do something similar, potentially. Maybe Chrome's out of the box thinking he'll think, well, okay, I'm the best scientist, but what we need is someone who can deal with like this new Stone World science. Because like the big thing, as almost every Dr. Stone fan points out, is that Senku knows a lot about science, and he knows modern science like to a weirdly advanced level that doesn't make sense except in fiction. But Chrome, he can think out. He's very creative. He came up with modern inventions on his own with just basic knowledge. So he's much more like in terms of almost. Senku's better at memorizing stuff. Chrome is better at outthinking stuff.
Outside the box, yeah.
So we might see Chrome get the seat from Senku. And I think I kind of like how we're slowly seeing that, and how each of the characters are kind of having their own character arcs. Like, because people have talked about like how they set up Senku, Ryusui, Tsukasa, but we're kind of seeing how like those characters have gone through so much in the story since from where they were, that they've acknowledged these other people. And of course, the other great thing about this is we're gonna hopefully see an arc for Stanley as well with his return.
Yeah, definitely. Like the next chapter, I just want it to be just like Ryusui and Stanley just talking. If it was just them two talking about the situation next chapter, Stanley and Ryusui being like, look, we know you tried to kill us in South America, but we're willing to compromise here. You help us take down this threat, we'll forgive you, and you'll get to be with Sinu again. And then we might get confirmation in that chapter 3 flashback that Sinu and Stanley are actually a couple, which I would love.
I mean, hey, if they're willing to go that extra mile, do it. But I don't think they will. They've played this friendship card like a lot.
Yeah,
just to kind
of. No, they are more than friends. Because remember what was Stanley's first instinct when the petrification beam was coming. Oh, I'm going to protect Sinu, and then literally their statues are kind of like Stanley's statue when they're frozen is kind of caressing Sinu's face.
I mean, yeah, they have all kinds of suggestive stuff, but I also like to remember that one colored page where Stanley was half naked and Zeno was there caressing him, but the quote accompanying them was an Aristotle quote about friendship. So it's almost
they are more than friends with that color page. With that color page, you could not convince me that they are not more than just friends. And the way Sinu just gave the lover's eyes to Stanley's statue.
I mean, they've done it several times, so I'm not going to say that it's an inappropriate headcanon by any means, because it's definitely there and heavily implied. But I don't think the story will actually commit to anything to it.
Okay, fair enough. But I'd love that if that was to happen, just
Yeah,
to
I
do
mean, if it
something
happened,
interesting.
I feel like this is the series that they could do that because we already have like a pansexual character in Ryusui and like a non-binary
Right?
character in Francois. So why
Yeah.
not just have like a confirmed like gay couple?
Yeah, and also as well, it does make sense for Ryusui to kind of like do this because if you like, I thought initially this was seeing you doing it, but no, it turns out it was Ryusui. Ryusui gave Stanley that last cigarette into his statue as kind of like a mark of respect for him.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah. But going back to what you were saying about Senku, uh, I could honestly see it being like, of course, we say three people, but I can honestly see it being Chrome and Suika because they're kind of like a duel together, the Kingdom of Sight, like the Ishigami Village newbie
Rookie
science
scientist.
duel actually going into space, and then we would have like an equal balance of like two men, two women.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Suika up there too. It's just that at this point, it's almost hard enough getting three people up to space. So
Well,
I mean, we
here's the thing. So they mentioned Sukasa mentioned that he didn't want to like mess with the weight of it, but Chrome and Suika they're quite like characters.
well, hang on. Let's pull up their weights.
But we
I
have
mean,
to
obviously they probably weigh differently now, but
yeah
there was a whole chapter that specified the weight. Luckily for us,
yeah, but that was when Suika was a little kid.
yeah. So it won't be the same. But I wanted to check Chrome's weight because Chrome is more muscular than Senku, I would think. So let's see. Where's the mountain chase? There's. Um, let's see.
Yeah,
There was
here
the
we go. Here we go.
motorcycle.
It's on the wiki. So Chrome is 63 kilograms.
Okay, and what's Senku?
Senku is 61, so he's not that much heavier than Senku.
Okay, but they're like about the same, I guess,
Same, yeah.
closer than I thought. Okay, so but that also means that like that's just weight for weight. Adding a fourth person would still be like almost, especially with an
Well,
adult Suiko.
actually, here we go. Kohaku's weight is 52 kilograms.
Yeah, and
And
Tsukasa was like 90 something, if I remember, or 70 or
yes,
90.
and Stanley Snyder. Let's see if his weight's been revealed.
I don't think so. We just got a
No,
motorcycle.
no,
Yeah,
it
we don't
hasn't. But
know. We only know the people who went on the motorcycle.
yeah, so I would say he's about the same as them. So like that's the
He's
50s to
pretty tall
60.
though, so I don't know. He's probably heavy. But I think
Maybe.
he would be a close to Ryusui's weight, like 'cause he's thinner.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just looking at their heights as well. 'Cause yeah, Stanley is 180 centimeters tall. Um,
Okay.
Chrome is 170, and Kohaku is 160.
Okay. She's shorter than I would have expected, but all right.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I would again I would love it, but I
I mean,
again
yeah, I also would like Suika on the Moon, but I mean, unless they go with multiple rocket launches like I was hoping for in the beginning, I'm not sure.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
Well,
hoping that we see at least some of them sent to space, but
yeah, I'm hoping as well. But at the same time, I just want it to be like this next chapter is just Ryusui and Stanley just talking to each other and just coming to an understanding.
I mean, that would be nice because we are slowing the pace down a lot more. Um, but I feel like we'll probably get a little bit more than that. Again, that sounds like nice, but I also don't know what they could talk about for an entire chapter besides what's the situation like, what are you thinking, and what about the deal we had? How does
Yeah,
that change?
I
So,
know.
I mean, there is enough if they wanted to stretch it out, but I feel like there would probably be a little bit more to it chapter than just them talking.
Yeah, probably. But again, well, here or they do talking for like about 95% of the chat of the time, and then we just have the ending of the chapter being Stanley Snyder joins the party.
Well, the other thing is to talk about is like, what is everyone else going to think? Because Ryusui snuck out to do this on his own.
Oh yeah, definitely uh that might actually be the cliffhanger of the end of the chapter. Like he come, they talk with each other, and then we see Ryusui coming back, and Senku and everyone's like, Ryusui, where have you been all night? And he's just like, I've been thinking about a decision. We need a pilot. We need him. And then Stanley just comes in, and that's the ending of the chapter.
Yeah, and then we see the reactions next time. I mean, that would be great because we've been talking about how the pacing's been a little fast, but if we get this in steps, that would be, I think, the most appropriate thing considering we are talking about a major antagonist yet to
Yeah,
face.
yeah. Uh, the
Also, Stanley's
only
like tried to kill Senku like twice.
yeah, the only
Twice.
because if you remember, this is actually going to happen as well. If you remember, there was a chapter. Let me just find it really quickly, really quickly. I know it was in South America. It was in South America. Um, so it was after the motorcycle chapter. So that would be 72, 73. Would it be? So yeah, it was after 70. Was it 77? 78? No, no, it was 70. I think it was 76. It was 76. It was one of these chapters. Yeah, yeah, it's this one, chapter 176, page one. Senku Ishigami, Dr. Sinu, Stanley Snyder. These three have yet to be in the same place at the same time. So yeah, this is probably going to happen. We're finally going to get resolution on that. We're going to get Sinu, Stanley, and Senku in the same place at the same time.
Ah,
Do you remember that chapter?
yeah. No, I just pulled up the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Has it happened since?
No, it
And
hasn't.
not really, because like I mean, the closest we've gotten is, I mean, I guess there was a time when Stanley did shoot Senku from a bit far away when they were in Brazil, but they haven't had like a good time, like really sit down and talk.
Yeah.
So
So I reckon that's going to be like the next few chapters, like just sitting down talking. And there's going to be one chapter where it's going to be like Stanley Snyder joins the party.
okay, if we're gonna have like some more slowdown with just dialogue, I hope that that will lead to some more build up or shed light on the whole potential traitor situation we have in Dr. Stone, just because like that hasn't been in play for a little while, and
Yeah.
we have to we still are planning on using the Medusa for the rocket launch because they
Oh yeah.
are going to petrify themselves on the rocket, so they have to figure out what's up with the Medusa for a bit.
Yeah.
So something has to happen with that.
My only thing is that since if Ryusui does revive Stanley and he gets back with Sinu, what's gonna happen then? Are they gonna be like trying to sabotage things to kind of have Sinu's plan of being a dictator or something? That it can go so many different ways at this point.
Yeah, it could, which again helps make this chapter really exciting for the next one.
Yeah. But yeah, really good chapter. Really, like I squeed when this happened when I saw that. Like Stanley.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, I am like really glad that happened because, like I said, one of my nitpicks was that Dick Stanley and Charlotte both have more experience, so Nikki's statement really means nothing. But
yeah. But
now they're bringing Stanley back, and I mean, it would have been weird if he didn't come back. Let's be honest, because we didn't bring back Ibarra, but he was like the
yeah,
worst, so it's okay.
yeah.
But
And Ibarra,
Stanley,
Ibarra's statue is probably being broken up into pieces and thrown into the ocean at this point.
yeah, it'll be fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
But Stanley, on the other hand, like there's like more to do with him.
Yeah, yeah, there is more to do with him, and I cannot wait to find out more about what's going to go on. Like, will Stanley be on the same playing field, or will he just be like, "Nah, screw it, I'm going to betray you guys"?
Yep. I mean, I don't. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we've covered everything, and we've been going for 3 hours. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
about the same time as last.
I think this will be a good time to end it. So yeah, really good chapters this week. Can't wait to find out what happens next, and hopefully we'll get even more good chapters next week and talk about the ones that we missed this week. So until then, we will see you later. So peace.